ABC Sports presents Burger King College Football Today, brought to you by Burger King, where you get great taste and great value every day. Get your burger's worth. Folks, I'm going to tell you something. In Texas, the mindset is bigger and better. Texans do things with zest and zeal, second to none.
Howdy, folks. Welcome.
Austin and College Station, two cities, two schools, one compelling rivalry dating back to 1894. A series ripe with tradition. In College Station, a bonfire 3 stories high stokes the Aggie fires. 90 miles away in Austin, red candles burn to hex Texas A&M.
Roll and I'll just feel something.
Road to the last Southwest Conference title is what R.C. Slocum's Aggies dared last year. But Ricky Williams' incisions through the A&M defense spelled doom for the Aggies' final conference legacy. John Makovich's crew rattling A&M's quest. Today, the brain trust of the two state rivals collide again. The stakes are enormous. For John Makovich, the beginning of a new legacy. Hanging in the balance, a trip to the first Big 12 title game. His eyes squarely focused on the task. Reveille's ready. So is Bevo. Big day, and we're going to go to John Saunders first in Tallahassee. Back at Memorial Stadium, head coach John Makovich. And Memorial Stadium, a powder keg ready to explode. A sellout crowd of over 83,000 on hand this afternoon. A sea of burnt orange and white. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mark Jones. Simply put, the magnitude of this game is far-reaching. It is the most important game of the season for both Texas A&M and the Texas Longhorns. When you look at the South Division standings in the Big 12 South Division, you see why. If Texas wins today, they play in the championship game next week against either Nebraska or Colorado. If Texas Tech watches and gets their wish, A&M will win today, and they would play either Nebraska or Colorado. A&M needs to win today to qualify for a bowl. Now, John Spagnola, this is the 103rd meeting between these two teams. I guess familiarity does breed a little bit of contempt.
That's right. You know, Mark, this is the most bitter in-state rivalry in all of college football. It's not only a clash of football players, teams, and coaches. The game also represents a clash of cultures. You see, the Aggie fans look upon the Texas people as a bunch of tea-sipping urban socialites, whereas the Texas people sneer at the down-home, folksy military tradition of A&M. What is different, as these two schools may be, their teams had almost identical seasons this year. You see, early in the season, both teams were ranked, but they both stumbled early. They both regrouped by midseason, and right now they're playing the best football they've played all year, currently riding 3-game winning streaks. But with 82% of the players on both of these teams coming from the state of Texas, the outcome of this game has a huge impact on recruiting for years to come.
Both of these squads have had a week off to contemplate their fate for the rest of the season, of what remains of it. We'll be back with more right after this. The sights and sounds of college football 96 continue this week from the jewel of the Texas Hill Country, Austin. ABC Sports presents Texas A&M and Texas, the Lone Star Shootout, and a huge one today. 57 degrees. It has been raining steadily for the last 24 hours. It has been unseasonably cool as well. And Dean Blevins down on the field, please stay dry, will you?
Yeah, I sure will, Mark. It's a brand new field. It's the best draining system out here. And the coaches tell me that they think the game may be more of a defensive game because of the conditions. Now, John Spagnola made it abundantly clear these two teams don't like each other at all. They become offended quite easily. 1 year ago, down in College Station, Texas won the game. Texas A&M very upset. They felt it was disrespectful for the Texas fans to come out onto the field in celebration. Now, not to be outdone, the Texas players talked about on practice at Wednesday that after Texas A&M won here 2 years ago, that they were taunting and too much celebration right out in the middle of the field on old Bevo. So we'll see who does the taunting and celebrating today.
Yeah, Dean, and there are some people from Texas that feel that R.C. Slocum was witnessing that celebration. Slocum, in his 8th year as head coach, he's had good success against John Makovich. Makovich, meanwhile, just 1-3 against the Aggies. We are set for the kick. A&M won the toss, electing to defer. Texas will receive. Kyle Bryant, number 3, that man kicking off for the Aggies. Back deep receiving Sean Mitchell and Bryant Westbrook for the Longhorns, and we are underway. This is Sean Mitchell, and slipping at the 22-yard line and falling down right there. The field appears to be a little slippery.
And Kyle Bryant slipped when he kicked off, too, so we had both players slipping right away here.
Good footing will be paramount this afternoon. James Brown last year put on one of the most courageous performances I've ever seen in college football. He played in this game against Texas A&M with a severely sprained ankle, played with an air cast on the foot.
And they knocked him down 17 times in that game. He was sacked 5 times. He got up every time and led his team to victory.
On 1st and 10 from the 22-yard line, Ricky Williams, the lone back. Brown's going to throw to number 82, Derek Lewis, the tight end. A nice gain on 1st down. Philip Myers making the tackle. A look at the Chili's backs and receivers for Texas. Ricky Williams out of San Diego, California. 6 feet, 220 pounds, a sophomore. A huge, speedy load running behind this talented offensive line, John.
And Dan Neal leads that line. You know, he's one of 3 Outland Trophy finalists, along with Orlando Pace of Ohio State and Sean Roquet of Arizona State. It shows you how highly he is regarded.
The back's running out of the eye. A nice gain running between the tackles. Number 3, Sean Mitchell, the 5'10" senior, revved up and ready to go. Ran for over 1,000 yards a year ago. Not as productive this season, but still having a good year. Kevin Mitchell leads that A&M wrecking crew defense.
And they're 7th in the nation against the rush. Kevin Mitchell's going to play in the backfield all day long.
Rich Cody, number 48, is the leader back there in the secondary.
Just a walk-on, but he has helped solidify that defensive backfield that was rattled early in the season, Mark.
James Brown on 1st down. Pass complete at the 43-yard line to Mike Adams from Arlington, Texas, playing in his last home game.
Where we've seen a good run-pass mix so far from Texas. That's Adams working on Donovan Greer, who's the most experienced of the secondary people. He makes a good cut considering the wet turf. And keep in mind, whenever you have wet conditions, they always say the receivers have the advantage because the defensive backs have to watch their footing and they're not sure where they're going, whereas the receivers are.
Adams holds many school receiving records. Now on 2nd down and 1 for the Longhorns. Brown hands it off to Ricky Williams. He's got the first and then some. A nice stiff arm falling forward, lunging down to the 36-yard line. Sean Horn finally pushing him out of bounds. A pickup of 19 yards for Ricky Williams.
Well, it's been pass run so far. Ricky Williams, his first team all Big 12. Comes right off the left side. That's where they've been testing this Aggie front so far. He gets a good lead block from his fullback, Sean Mitchell. And this is a guy who gets 70% of his yards after contact. Very hard to bring him down one-on-one.
Ran through one tackler right there, too. At the 36-yard line, Holmes and Williams in the backfield. Brown to pass for Fitzgerald. He's got it. Down to the 4-yard line. Pat Fitzgerald, the tight end, finally brought down by Rich Cody. A 32-yard pickup, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Longhorns.
From the academic All-American, Pat Fitzgerald got an $18,000 scholarship, postgraduate scholarship. You know, he wasn't open at all. Right now, James Brown is just on fire, throwing the football very well. Rich Cody is in locked-in coverage one-on-one with the tight end. Well, watch how that ball is perfectly thrown right over the outside shoulder of Fitzgerald. He makes the catch and works inside, and right now, Texas looks fabulous. James Brown is 3 for 3 for 48 yards.
It sure does look good. Back split. That's Holmes and Williams behind Brown. It's Priest Holmes over the right side, and he takes it to the house. A 4-yard touchdown run by Holmes.
Boy, that was too easy. And the whole series was pass, run, pass, run, pass, run.
Terrific, precise play selection led by James Brown at quarterback.
Ben Adams, 79, coming around in the pull. Let's see if he gets a block. He gets a good seal block inside. Priest Holmes is the goal line specialist on his team. That's his 9th touchdown of the year.
Out of the hold of Mark Schultes. Phil Dawson with the extra point. Dawson is good. 6 plays, 77 yards. He didn't use up much time. The Longhorns lead it 7-0 when we come back. A look at the bovine beauty, Bevo. His name used to be 13-0, right?
Right.
He's riled up.
Look at, he's ready to come after you. He's got that hook going.
Texas leads 7-0. An impressive, methodical, arduous drive led by James Brown, the starting quarterback. Chris Stockton now set to kick off for the Longhorns. Back deep, Dante Hall and Sir Parker for Texas A&M. The Aggies, in their last few contests, the last 3, have gotten off to slow starts. They fumble it. Hall fumbles it. And he pounces on it at the 23-yard line. Fortuitous bounce for the Aggies.
That's 2 kick returners not on the same page. James Brown struggled early in the year, but has come on and thrown for over 200 yards in 5 of the last 6 games. Now look how perfectly he throws this ball in the out and up to Pat Fitzgerald. Cody never had a chance to see it. And he is playing very good football right now. He seems to save his best for Texas A&M.
Texas players off to a fortuitous start. An auspicious beginning for the Longhorns. First down and 10 for the Aggies now at the 23. Single back set. That's number 22, Eric Bernard, tripped up. Falls back to the line of scrimmage. The starting quarterback is Brandon Stewart, number 7. He's the transfer from Tennessee. He came to A&M with high expectations, but critics might say those expectations have not been fulfilled yet, John.
Not so far, but I mean, this is his first year as a starter in college. They tried to revamp the offense and go to a drop-back style of throwing the football, and it just didn't work out. R.C. Slocum bagged out and went to the running game, something he's very comfortable with.
It's 2nd and 10. Brandon Stewart passing on the post pattern, incomplete. Overthrowing his intended receiver, number 37, Dante Hawkins. Look at our Chili's backs and receivers. Number 80 has rewritten the receiving record book in College Station. Albert Connell. And Calvin Collins, number 54, attended A&M only after he visited the school on a promise from his mother. Going against a very talented defensive front for Texas. 3rd down and 10. Fumble. They put it on the ground. A very shaky first offensive series for the Aggies. Stewart recovering the loose ball. They'll have to punt it away on 4th and 10.
Well, with the pulling and everything else, Brandon Stewart had to get out quickly. He realized that, but he pulls out too soon. See, he's trying to get out of the way of his pulling guard, Samisi Hemuli, but never got a handle on the football.
Here's Mike Adams at the 32-yard line. Adams did well to dodge 2 tacklers, falling forward to the 38-yard line. A 48-yard punt by Leckler, 6 yards on the return. The tackle by Philip Myers. James Brown with an impressive drive on Texas's first offensive possession. Coming back in for the second one now.
Yeah, you see the confidence with which he's throwing the football. He struggled early in the year, Mark. 479 yards. You see his completions and percentages and everything, 4 touchdowns. But of late, he has played a lot better. 94, 164, 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. As I said, 5 of the last 6 games, he's averaged over 200 yards a game.
Well, John, Brown, honorable mention, all conference. Shunned by the voters for the first or second team, maybe playing with something to prove today. He was 3 of 3 on his first drive, and he's almost picked off on that pass attempt.
He sure was.
Sean Horn, number 21, defending Mike Adams. It'll be 2nd and 10.
He was almost 4 of 4 going the other way with Sean Horn. You know, that's that throw from the near hash mark all the way across the field. That ball stays in the air just a little bit longer. And Shunhorn had seen the play before to the opposite side of the field to Mike Adams and almost jumped that thing and got an interception.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 38-yard line. Holmes and Williams now split behind Brown. Fitzgerald, the tight end, lined up to the right. The wrecking crew blitzing. They pick it up And Williams maybe gets a yard. Tackled by number 45, Brad Crowley, the 6'5" junior, 248 pounds.
This is a good Texas offense. You see the balance there, averaging over 200 yards passing and rushing. That's 19th in the nation. And this is a big reason why. Dan Neal right there, who is just, look how low his back is. Look how low he stays to the ground. He's working on Brandon Stewart there, the All-American. Brandon Mitchell. And I think that's one of the best matchups you'll see all year.
Be a great one to watch today. 3rd down and 8 out of the shotgun. Brown on the post, McGarity, and he's overthrown. Wayne McGarity burst open slightly, beating the free safety Brandon Jennings, but Brown just off the mark, and it'll be 4th down for Texas. James Brown out of Beaumont, Texas.
I think that was a critical defensive stop for the Aggies, Mark. You know, they're just not the kind of football team that's going to be able to come back in a football game. Certainly there's a lot of time in this game, but they had to get down by much more than 7 points early in this game.
Mark Schultes punting, John, from his own 30. A high spiral that comes down at the 23. Dante Hall is an extremely dangerous punt return man. A 37-yard punt, 8 on the return. The Texas Longhorns own Memorial Stadium. They've done well here, especially during the last 8 conference games. Back when we come back.
The Panasonic Razor. Shave wet or shave dry. Your choice. Your shave. Rinse clean. Work hard. Play hard.
College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. Marriott Hotels, Resorts, and Suites. We believe when you're comfortable, you can do anything. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. People who know use Valvoline. And Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. 10:56 remaining in the first quarter. Texas leads Texas A&M 7-0. There's a look at the Capitol building here in Austin, Texas. Eric Bernard, the lone back. On the counter, Bernard maybe gets a yard, maybe 2 on the play. Brought down by Casey Hampton, number 64. Let's take a look at that front 7, the Chili's front 7 for the Texas Longhorns.
It's a young group, Mark. Aaron Humphrey is a true freshman. He's got 50 tackles in the last 5 games. Casey Hampton, 64, the nose tackle, made the play on that last play. These are a bunch of guys that have to improve. And I think this is the best cornerback in the country, maybe the first cornerback drafted, Bryant Westbrook.
Pros are salivating over him. The pass incomplete, intended for Dante Hawkins. And very quickly, it'll be 3rd and long. It's not been a good beginning so far offensively for A&M. Taji Allen, number 2, covering Hawkins.
Now, what's helped the Longhorns is that they're stopping A&M on first down with the running plays. And they're forcing them into known situations, and they have a very good defensive secondary. It's certainly one of the best in the country in terms of playing against the pass.
Brandon Stewart completing just 50% of his passes on the season. 3rd down and 8. They are 0 for 2 so far in 3rd down conversion situations. 3 receivers. Stewart overthrows Connell, and it'll be 4th and 8. They'll punt. Connell blanketed on the out pattern. Stewart is 0 of 3 today.
Yeah, that ball had to be thrown where it was, though. Jonathan Hickerson, the linebacker who's starting today in place of Dwight Kirkpatrick, was underneath and would have intercepted that pass had it been thrown right at the receiver.
Leckler, a high spiral punt. Adams with a fair catch at the 25-yard line. Well, coming up next, the second game of our college football doubleheader. 5th-ranked Colorado, number 4, Nebraska, for the right to appear in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship. That game is next Saturday at 1 Eastern here on ABC. In the North Division, Nebraska and Colorado locked at 7-0. The winner of the game today, later on ABC, will play in that Big 12 championship game next Saturday.
And Texas would love to be the winner of that game's opponent.
Running on first down is Sean Mitchell. Mitchell hails here from Austin, Texas. Ran for 1,099 yards a year ago. Or Coleman making the tackle on that last play, number 43. It'll be second down and 12 to go. James Brown, 49 straight passes without an interception, including today.
Well, you jinxed him now, Mark. Anytime you do something like that, you run the risk of jinxing somebody.
Three receivers out, quick three-step drop by Brown, and it's complete to number 86, Matt Davis, the senior playing in his last home game here in Austin. Shun Horn, number 21, being worked on that play.
Matt Davis has stepped in as starter now for Mike Scarborough. He's a tall target. Should do well in a game like this with his size. Well, here's real interesting. Texas A&M with -1 yard so far. Texas with 81. Now, the Texas defense is ranked 69th in the country. Gary Darnell, the defensive coordinator, is under a little bit of pressure because of that. But right now, they're playing awfully good.
A lot of speculation surrounding Darnell's future at Texas. Third down and 8. Brown's going to pass. Going up top for Adams. And he caught it. Laying out. Complete at the 27. And Adams says, how do you like me now? 41 yards on the pickup.
Let me tell you something. There's speed, and then there's game day speed. When Mike Adams was running for this pattern, I thought this ball was overthrown. Watch him accelerate to the football and go simply run that football down. That is game day speed. Quite frankly, that's something I haven't seen a lot of from Mike Adams this year. He had a hip flexor injury earlier in the year. But look at how he just tracks that ball down, chases it down, and makes a great catch.
Yeah, he may have lost a step, John, but he still is pretty explosive. He won't get better until he has a long chance to heal. This is Williams on 1st and 10. Getting to the perimeter just for a moment. Knocked out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Adams, meanwhile, has played 24 consecutive games. There he is, number 83, with a reception. That is a Texas school record. Here's a young man, John, who has overcome a lot of adversity, had some ups and downs, went through a tumultuous period a couple of years ago, getting in a few on-campus incidents, most notably the famous water balloon caper.
Ah, yes, every college student has one of those along the way. But you know what? He's one of those guys who's always a pretty good guy, just in the wrong place at the wrong time and seem to keep getting caught.
Second down and 4. Ricky Williams to the short side of the field, wrapped up nicely at the 28-yard line by Rich Cody, the strong safety, number 48 for Texas A&M. A year ago, Cody was an obscure walk-on. There he is. For the 95 season, though, the picture in the future didn't even appear as a picture. His picture wasn't even in the home program. His dad, Richard, played in the NFL with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, Richard, his father said, you didn't get his speed from me. That's a balanced mix so far of rushing and passing. Texas rushes about 57% of the time, so they're very close to what they normally do during the course of the year.
3rd and 6 out of the shotgun, James Brown. Incomplete. Not sure exactly who he was trying to hit, either Davis or McGarity. He fell right in between, and it'll be 4th down. Phil Dawson, the place kicker, coming onto the field.
Now, Dawson had that knee surgery on the left knee during the offseason. That's his plant foot. Let's keep an eye on his footing here. You know, that's from the left hash mark. It's an area of the field that gets pretty dug up, and that plant foot is very important when a kicker has to kick. In what conditions?
This one, John, coming from 44 yards out. He has a reputation of being a clutch field goal kicker. And Dawson nails this one. The Longhorns off to a great beginning here in the first quarter. They lead 10-0 when we come back.
Welcome back to Austin, Texas. A great start for the Texas Longhorns, leading the Aggies 10-0. We'll be covering a variety of stories for you today down here from the sideline. We'll be hooking up on the telephone with Spike Dykes, the coach at Texas Tech. And, of course, this game determines whether he plays in St. Louis for a Big 12 championship. Get a Rope, a story about Bevo. I bet you don't know this one. That Wins, about an Aggie linebacker who's making history, and a great one here, an ultimate recovery, an unbelievable story about a Longhorn who's turned a horrible beginning into a fabulous success story. Mark?
Yeah, it's a real compelling one. Thanks a lot, Dean. Hook 'em horns. And right now, Spike Dykes not too happy with the scoreboard because he needs Texas A&M to win today in order for Texas Tech, his crew, to play in that championship game next week. Game you'll see on ABC. Stockton with the kickoff. Dante Hall, who fumbled the last one, lets Sir Parker take this. And he's brought down at the 10-yard line.
There's Brian Westbrook in on the action, and that's one of the things that pro scouts like about him, is that he plays on special teams, something you need to do in the pros.
The Aggies have won 8 of the last 10 against Texas, 10 of the last 12, too. Both teams playing at the peak of their game right now, though, riding 3-game winning streaks.
I would say right now the Longhorns are taking that peak just a little bit higher.
No doubt. 1st and 10 for the Aggies on the 13. This is Tiki Hardiman, the 5'11" sophomore, 225 pounds. Folks, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has awarded nearly $6 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. 2nd down and 8 for the Aggies. Ball on the 15-yard line. Single back set. And they run it between the tackles again.
And Mark, you mentioned that single back set. Part of the reason for that is last week, or in last game, the Longhorns had great success against the Kansas Jayhawks playing an 8-man front. They shut down that team in the second half. And as a result of that, by using a 2 tight end formation, you're able to balance out that defensive front and keep them from stacking the line of scrimmage. And you're able to dictate what you want to do in the running game. So far, it's worked a little bit on this drive, but it still puts them in a tough 3rd down situation.
Yeah, 3rd and 4, the toss. Flag down on the play. That's Bernard, who's got the 1st down and then some. He has got open real estate. Allen in pursuit. Allen collars him at the 2-yard line. But there are 2 flags down on the play. Hold on a minute.
My only thought is, by the initial look of the formation, and I may be wrong, there might not have been 7 people on the line of scrimmage. But it looks like they're bringing this back.
That would nullify a 79-yard gain. Head referee for today's game, the man wearing the white cap, John Laurie. It's an all Big 12 conference crew. And the initial indication from Texas players anyway says that this one will come back.
Might be multiple infractions, actually.
With 2 penalties on the offense, offside and holding. The holding penalty will be declined. 5-yard penalty for offsides will be excess.
Oh, offsides on offense. Well, that's hard to believe if you line up offsides on offense. There it is. It looks like right here the inside receiver is lined up with his foot right on the football. That looked like Dante Hawkins, the wide receiver, number 37. And then there was a hold on the play as well. So a great gain gets called back.
Sets up a 3rd down and 9 situation.
Now, the reason they took that penalty is because the hold would have been from where the hold occurred, and that was downfield. So the 5-yard penalty moves him back from the line of scrimmage.
Nose of the ball on the 14. Stewart to pass. Downfield. Incomplete and dropped by Dante Hawkins. He had it and let it slip through his arms.
Hawkins was open an awfully long time. Stewart finally located him, and threw the football, but Hawkins could not do his imitation of Mike Adams.
Yeah, Stewart now, John, 0 of 4, but an asterisk should be put beside that because that was a drop. It'll be 4th and punting for A&M.
Yeah, watch Hawkins. He's called for the football right here. Now Stewart has to go to his right. There's Chris Carter in pursuit, and he misjudges the football. Stewart gets it there late. You get a real good view of what a quarterback's looking at. But the ball wasn't caught.
There's Leckler's punt to Mike Adams, calling for the fair catch at the 44-yard line. A 42-yard punt, nothing on the return. And John, so far, part of the story of the afternoon is the poor field position for the Aggies and the good field position for Texas.
Absolutely, but the other part is the missed opportunities by A&M. 2 big plays. One wasn't converted by the catch. The other one called back by penalties. Otherwise, the Aggies would have some points on the board right now.
In November, Texas, winners of 9 consecutive games, and R.C. Slocum says they remember November.
They always remember November. He hasn't lost since 1989 in the month of November.
Gerald in motion. They run the counter tray. This is Ricky Williams, chopped down nicely by Donovan Greer at the 43-yard line. The corner came up with good run support. Number 27 has 31 career starts coming into this game, more than the rest of his defensive back teammates combined. And
yeah, in the opener against BYU, that defense was exploited very, very badly. BYU rattled the confidence of this team. You know, they lost that game. They lost their second game against Southwestern Louisiana, and they were rattled for a while.
Running the ball once again.
And part of that, Mark, too, is when they lost that first game, they had 3 weeks off between the BYU game and their second game of the season. And when you have to sit around at the beginning of the season and stew on a loss like that for 3 weeks, it's difficult for a young team, and this is the youngest team in the Big 12, to come back from that. We've seen a lot of teams not do well early in the season. It affects them all year. We've seen teams enjoy early success, and they play very well throughout the year.
John, it is now 3rd and 9 after that Coleman run. The Twins left formation. Now they have 3 receivers on the play. Brown scrambling. This is where he can hurt you. Lobs it up. And it's incomplete. And now a late flag at the 32. I mean, that flag came tomorrow. Wayne McGarity, the intended receiver, working on Brandon Jennings. Brown with a nice touch pass over the head of Jennings.
He sure did. That was the old Sandlot routine. Go deep. I mean, it was almost as if he waved to him, yelled to him, told him where to go, and then tried to almost shot put the ball to him.
Let's look at Jennings, the true freshman in the secondary.
Let's see if Shun Horn, who I believe was the defender here. Actually, it was Brandon Jennings, number 30. But it appears to me that they've taken the flag away. They've talked about it, and they've ruled that there's no interference. So it's a good no call.
Jennings off the hook. And the Longhorns will punt. Mark Schultes, averaging 40 yards a punt this year, with a long of 56, kicking to Dante Hall. Schultes has 11 punts inside the 20 this year. Hall calling for the fair catch right at the 20-yard line. A 35-yard punt, nothing on the return. The Aggies still pinned in not so good field position. Go back in our time machine, and our Marriott moment today takes us back to 1993 in College Station, where these two teams battled for a trip to the Cotton Bowl. A&M entered the game with a perfect 6-0 conference record and boosted by this kickoff return by Leland McElroy, now in the NFL. Has he got skills? Oh, I think so. McElroy running it back for a touchdown. A&M won it 18-9. And here's another number 34, a talented youngster, Dante Hall. A pickup of 17 yards and a first down. And that last kickoff return we saw by Leland McElroy led A&M to an 18-9 win last year. That would turn out to be their last Southwest Conference title. Back in '93. The Aggies' first down of the ball game, coming after that 17-yard run by Hall. Here's the counter tray. Hall again. Spins on and still on his feet.
Look out. This young man is quite a player. I saw him in their last game against Oklahoma. It's amazing how a team can be languishing, and then all of a sudden a true freshman comes in and ignites everybody. As you mentioned, Mark, the counter tray, Steve McKinney, 72, is coming and pulling there. He's getting help from Chris Ruman, 76. But watch, talk about yards after contact. This guy is low to the ground, keeps the legs moving, and he's awfully hard to bring down.
Out to the 43-yard line is Dante Hall again, running much like Leland McElroy. You know, Hall was the steal of the 1996 recruiting class. He had a broken foot his senior year in high school, which scared off some other schools. But A&M came calling and got him. Nice numbers today. 2nd and 4. Here he is again. One of 4 talented running backs at A&M. That time brought down by Aaron Humphrey, number 49.
You know, this is the same formation they had offsides on before. They ran away from where they ran previously. I hope they weren't offsides again. Okay. I guess this is a lot better, isn't it? When you're not offsides, illegal procedure.
John, I talked about Hall being one of 4 talented running backs for the Aggies. Those 4 running for over 2,000 yards combined. First time in school history they've had 4 running backs run for over 500 yards each.
Yeah, the group averages 224 yards a game. And they just roll them in. There's no particular order in who plays where and when. They just, right now for sure, Dante Hall has the hot hand, and they'll stay with him.
Here's the counter again. Hall is forward progress, taking him near the 38.
That's true freshman on true freshman right there. Aaron Humphrey on Dante Hall. These 2 guys will be mixing it up for years to come.
Hall now going to the sidelines. And Humphrey, number 49. His nickname is The Hump. His favorite song is AC/DC's You Shook Me All Night Long. Well, he's going to do some shaking today.
True freshman Aaron Humphrey, 86 tackles. Casey Hampton, who's in this game, and Brandon Jennings. They're the true freshman tackling leaders here in the Big 12.
A&M with its best field position of the day on 3rd down and 6. Bernard and Broyles split. Stewart to pass, has time. Incomplete. Through the arms of number 88, Leroy Hodge. A catchable pass once again, and Stewart has to be shaking his head.
Yeah, and he touched his head almost as if to say how that ball hit him on the head. Leroy Hodge has 5 receptions on the year. You know, he may have wet gloves, and I think sometimes in the game, that ball gets on you a lot quicker than it does in practice.
Not sure that
quarterback has a live arm, and things happen a lot faster.
Shane Lechler in again now, John. Not sure if he had to jump on that to catch it. Chris Carter standing at his own 10. Lechler aiming for the Coffin corner. Instead, it bounces into the end zone. 38 yards on the punt. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. So the Aggies come up empty on that offensive series. Still trailing 10-0.
Yeah, I think the extra 15 yards or so they might have been able to pick up from Lechler's Coffin kick there had he done it correctly. It really helped their defense. I think their defense playing a lot better. They seem to have settled into this football game right now.
Ricky Williams, one of the players trotting back onto the field for Texas as they have the ball now. Williams read some of the comments from Keith Mitchell earlier this week, the linebacker for A&M, and Williams jokingly said, "Who's Keith Mitchell?" Fitzgerald and Lewis, the tight ends in the ball game, on 1st and 10 for James Brown. Going up top for Adams. Defended well by Donovan Greer. Stride for stride was Greer.
Good battle one-on-one. This time Donovan Greer is in much better position. And Adams is going to try and work his way underneath from behind. And actually winds up at the very end playing defensive back. Great position by Donovan Greer.
Nice to see Greer bounce back from off-season knee surgery. One of the players in this game from Texas. These players run into each other often. In the malls, walking on the streets, bragging rights at stake. Here's Sean Mitchell slipping once again. slipped earlier today on a kickoff return. Brought down at the 19-yard line by Trent Driver. Mitchell was promised a scholarship after he failed to qualify on a sack score a couple years ago, and true to his word, John Makovic gave him the scholarship. He hails from Austin, Texas. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Mitchell went to junior college, took care of business, and he's wearing burnt orange and white. 1:51 to play in the first period, 10-0 for Texas. Brown under pressure. Into traffic. Almost caught. No flag on the play. Adams says, I can't believe it.
John Horn on the coverage very smartly ran off the field as quickly as he could. And, you know, this sometimes would get James Brown in trouble. They're up 10-0 in this game. They're not in very good field position. He's trying to make a big play.
And you can hear the reaction from the fans. They wanted the call. And the reaction from James Brown. The referee, throw that linen out of your pocket. Mark Schultes into punt. His 3rd of the afternoon. And Dante Hall still with hopes of breaking one. Hall eschewing the fair catch. Brought down at the 38. A 46-yard punt by Schultes and 4 on the return. So A&M beginning this time offensively with better field position. Hasn't happened often this afternoon. Aaron Bambino making the tackle on the play. Let's go downstairs to Dean.
Mark, you might notice the A&M offensive tempo is faster than it normally is. R.C. Slocum was talking to his players a couple of series ago, the offensive guys, saying, guys, just pick up the tempo a little bit, give them something they don't expect. And I think they want to exploit the Texas defensive front, hammer some runs at them.
Let's see what they do here on 1st and 10. They toss it on the running play. That's number 20, Tiki Hardiman, gaining about 3 yards.
Yeah, they sure do. And the other part of that Dean makes is that you give confidence to your offensive line. Offensive line people love to run block. And that's the thing that this team does well. It's what they've had success with so far this year. They're 12th in the nation in rushing, averaging 239 yards a game. So, you know, this is what they like to do. This is their bread and butter offensively. And this is the way of getting the whole team into this football game.
Running nothing new in College Station. To the tight end, Dan Campbell, who makes the reception, falls about a yard shy of the first down. Taji Allen making the tackle for the Longhorns. It'll be 3rd down and about 1 to go for Texas A&M. The best starting field position of the day.
And, you know, that's the other thing they do offensively. If they were a drop-back team, they couldn't pick up all the blitzes and all the things that you have to digest in that system. So now they've gone to a more of a play-action rollout. It's a lot easier type of pass offense to run.
That was Stewart's first completion of the day. 3rd and short, the toss to the short side of the field. Hardiman, not sure that he got there.
Well, they kept hitting him and hitting him. It looked like at some point Hardiman was going to squirt through there.
Aaron Humphrey and Dusty Renfro leading the charge for the Longhorns. And the spot is about a yard short of the first down. And R.C. Slocum says, we're going to kick.
RC is no stranger to the field position game with his defense playing a lot better. He's more than content right now to wait till the next series if his defense can hold and get another opportunity at around midfield.
Leffler, John, punting for the 5th time this afternoon, has a shot at setting a new school average record for punts. A high spiral. Chris Carter with a fair catch at the 10-yard line. 43-yard punt. Nothing on the return. 2 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Texas leading 10-0. The Longhorns with their sights set on an appearance in the Big 12 championship game next week against the winner of Colorado and Nebraska, a game you'll see later today here on ABC. Devo still excited.
You know, Texas now is going to start this drive, last play of the first quarter, on the 10-yard line. Remember, last time they started on the 20-yard line when Leckler's punt went into the end zone. So, as I mentioned, R.C. Slocum has picked up 10 yards in that field position battle right there.
Two receivers to the top of your screen. Instead, they run it. That's Ricky Williams. And it's loose. A&M has it. You saw them ripping at the ball, and they finally sprung it loose. Number 9, Dat Wynn, making the recovery. And A&M finally catches a break as we close out the first period of play. One more look.
Yeah, one of the things that hurts Ricky Williams is battling after the first touch. Oh, that ball is clearly out. He's battling for more field position, and Dat Wynn, whose parents came over from Saigon about 20 years ago and moved to Arkansas, picked the ball up.
There he is, number 9 for the Wrecking Crew defense.
Ball was loose. It was recovered by A&M. That is the end of the quarter.
The definitive word coming from our official, John Laurie. So the Aggies staring a huge opportunity in the face when we come back to begin the second quarter of play. It's 10-0 in the Texas Hill Country. The Longhorns lead it.
PG-13. Daylight breaks December 6th.
Now, with 50% more tender filet than before, McDonald's new Fish Filet Deluxe is sure to satisfy your grown-up needs and desires. For lunch. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
Key turnover.
Than before. McDonald's new Fish Filet Deluxe is sure to satisfy your grown-up needs and desires. For lunch. It's McDonald's with a grown-up taste.
A key turnover in this football game. Edward Jasper gets his hand right there. Number 95 gets his hand on the ball as Ricky Williams is struggling for extra yards. He pulls it out, and the ball is recovered by Dat Wynn. So the field position war definitely pays off for R.C. Slocum in this situation. John Mackovic talking to the official. One official had ruled that Ricky Williams' progress had stopped. Other officials disagree and overruled him, and their man right there, Dat Wynn, made that recovery.
First and goal for the Aggies from the 9-yard line. You talk about room service. They are poised and ready. Eric Bernard, the single back. And it's Bernard. Puts his hat down, and he is crushed at the 8-yard line by Chris Carter and Tyson King, number 50. Look at the numbers from the first quarter. The one that jumps out at you so far is the total offense numbers.
Right, exactly. Texas more than doubling the A&M output so far, and then the one turnover here, though, is going to get the Aggies right back in this football game.
Clouds now beginning to break. The sun peeking through on the horizon. Second and goal. Bernard stuffed. Maybe got one. Maybe. Tough sledding between the tackles. Aaron Humphrey and Chris Akins, big number 96, making the tackle. Like I said, the sun just now trying to peek through those clouds. It's been cold and rainy for the last few days here, and the turf obviously a little bit damp. Ball at the 7-yard line, third and goal. Longhorn fans bringing the noise. 5 seconds on the play clock. On the slant, incomplete, flag down. Leroy Hodge was the intended receiver on the play, and Chris Carter was covering him.
Hodge is a big target. You want to use him down there. He's 6'3", 207 pounds. Remember, he dropped that ball earlier in the game.
Pass interference. Defense.
First and goal still for Texas A&M. This time first and goal from the 3 after the interference call.
Hodge was lined up in the slot receiver mark. Tried to run a slant, and it was all man-to-man coverage, as it often is down there.
Look at the Aggies' productivity in the red zone this year. Hardeman and Broyles. They like to use Broyles as the lead blocker on the ISO, but instead they run the toss. Touchdown Aggies, Hardeman. A 2-yard scamper to pay dirt. And Texas A&M is on the scoreboard.
I tell you what, you talked about Broyles. He's the lead blocker on this play. And this guy is a very punishing fullback. There he is, number 33. But watch him get punished on this play. I mean, he's coming around, and watch Westbrook, the corner, just jack him up backwards. But it was a one-for-one trade-off there, and Hardeman goes into the end zone. Again, I can't underestimate how good Westbrook is. Run forcing for a corner is very important.
The extra point bounces off the upright, no good. And Kyle Bryant misses for just the 3rd time this year on the point after the touchdown. But the Aggies have 6. We'll be right back. Big day of college football coming up tomorrow on ABC, and back here, a sellout crowd of over 83,000 strong here at Memorial Stadium. This the 103rd edition of Texas against Texas A&M, the 3rd longest running rivalry in college football. Aggies on the board. It's 10-6. Kyle Bryant, who missed the extra point moments ago, kicking off to Mike Scarborough and Sean Mitchell. A short kickoff, landing at the 23. That's Mitchell. He's had trouble staying on his feet so far today, slipping. Good footing on this run back, though. Mitchell across midfield to the 48-yard line. A 30-yard kickoff return. The tackle made by Sean Poirier. There's a flag down at the 32.
Yeah, Sean Mitchell's probably the fastest guy on this football team. Now that he's healthy, he's running as well as he did last season when he gained over 1,000 yards.
Number 6, Mike Scarborough, shaking up on that.
This one will come back. There's a look at Sean Mitchell, 1/3 of the BMW backfield. The B, Brown. The W, Ricky Williams. M, Mitchell. A lesson in spelling for you. There you go. Just in case you couldn't figure it out. Just underway here in the 2nd quarter. Mentioned Mitchell, the former junior college All-American. Didn't qualify out of high school, and John Makovic told him, son, you go to junior college, take care of your grades, take care of your business. I'll have a scholarship waiting for you when you're ready. That's exactly what came to fruition.
And he has come on of late. He has averaged 80 yards a game in his last 6 games. He only averaged 25 yards a game in his first 4 games of the year.
They fake the draw. Brown's going to pass. Coming back to the ball nicely is his receiver, number 83, Mike Adams. A 15-yard pickup and a first down. Donovan Greer making the tackle.
Mike Adams working one-on-one with Donovan Greer. Good cushion. Now Greer closes here, and the arm strength of Brown gets this ball out here. He just set and fired that football out here. When I watched this play unfold from up here, my vantage point, I didn't think the ball could get there in time. James Brown now 6 for 12 for 109 yards.
And Mike Adams, 3 of those completions for a total of 65 yards. Ricky Williams running it and stuffed up right at the line of scrimmage. The 29-yard line. Dat Wynn, number 9, making the tackle on the play. He's the team's leading tackler. Wynn straightening out himself at a young age when he was 12, when his mother threatened him to send him to church school in Missouri. Found football in his life, and the rest is history.
Well, his coaches are so excited about him. They cannot say enough wonderful things about him. He's only 6'1", 213 pounds, but he's playing right there in the middle with all the big guys.
2nd down and 12. Brown passing on the out. Incomplete. Intended for his favorite target, number 83, Mike Adams. We just talked about Dat Wynn. Let's get some more on Dat from Dean.
Mark, you mentioned the fact that Dat had gotten into trouble as a youngster. You know, this is an example of where football has really helped him. He's the first athlete of Vietnamese origin to play at Texas A&M, and after his parents came here 21 years ago, He got in some trouble, but he's developed into a star. He wants to be a role model for Vietnamese. He's volunteering his time, and he is not only an outstanding player, but a great young man.
A real success story, Dean. 3rd down and 12. Brown has time again, throws behind Adams. And it'll be 4th down. Punting situation for the Longhorns. John, Brown has had a lot of time to pass today.
He has. This offensive line for Texas did not play well early in the year, and they have come on of late and are starting to play very good football. There was a good opportunity for a nice gain by the Longhorns. Schunhorn, who was in coverage, had fallen down, but Adams couldn't quite set his feet and get around and catch that football.
Brown now one of his last 7. That's Dante Hall, number 34, standing at his own 35-yard line with 12:10 to play in the first half. Schultes, high, short, shank.
Reminiscent of the Notre Dame game, isn't it?
Sure is, and it cost them that one, too.
Sure did. They're up 10 points in the 4th quarter, and he didn't kick a very good punt. Went off to the right, and it gave Notre Dame good field position, and the Aggies are going to enjoy good field position right now as well.
Mark Schultes disgusted thoroughly with his 11-yard punt. We'll be right back.
Taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Ford Escort. It's new and it's nifty. Made for the smart, the intelligent, thrifty. And Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Look at some of the scenery around Austin, Texas, the state capital. Things drying up just a little bit, and John, the leak over our heads here in our booth has stopped too. That's good news.
That was torturous there for a while, wasn't it? Starting to twitch a little bit.
Yeah, my dome was getting a little wet. Nose of the ball on the 40-yard line, 1st and 10. Brandon Stewart rolling out. Downfield, had 2 guys in the vicinity, neither caught it. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Not sure who that pass was intended for. Stewart, just 1 of 7 today for 6 yards. Came into the contest completing 50% of his passes, 9 touchdown throws, and 6 picks on the year. Scratch that, 7 picks on the year. He is 7th in the conference in total offense. 2nd and 10 from the 40. Just under 12 minutes to play in the half, and 3 flags all thrown in unison on the field.
That can only mean one thing.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
Much to the dismay and chagrin of R.C. Slocum.
Yeah, because things have been working out for him well so far. He played the field position game. He got the turnover at the 9-yard line when Ricky Williams fumbled. This is the Aggies' 2nd straight possession in Texas territory starting out. Penalties 3 for 15, 2 for 15, or 10 for Texas, so they don't want to squander this opportunity.
Now John, 2nd and 15. 3 wideouts on the play. They toss it to the short side of the field. Dante Hall. Call. Undaunting and unrelenting. Down inside the 20-yard line. A 27-yard pickup for the freshman.
You know, what's so great about a freshman like him is that he makes the cutback on the toss play. For a freshman, a true freshman, he does it as well as any experienced senior you may see in college football. Watch how he reads the lane right here. Now stop the tape if you can. See right there, look at it. He sees the lane all the way backside. Go ahead and roll it. And makes the cutback against the grain. Now, if you're rotating backs right now and you want to go with a hot hand, he's the guy I would want to stay with right now if I were the Aggies.
That'd be a good call. Instead, it's number 20, Tiki Hardeman. Running over the right side, running over Steve McKinney and Chris Ruman, brought down by Casey Hampton. Tiki Hardeman, named Tiki by his father, who fought in the Vietnamese War. Tiki meaning the little one, and the other little one, Dante Hall, number 34, back in the ballgame. after that short respite. The counter play. Hall tackled at the 16, maybe lost a yard. Chris Akins, number 96, an imposing figure in the middle. When I say imposing, I mean it. Look at that girth.
He's a guy, after the game when he takes his shoulder pads off, guys go up to him and say, Chris, your shoulder pads are still on. I mean, look how hulking he is. Strongest guy on the team, benches 551. You know, Mark, he's healthy for the first time in a long time. He had a hip pointer, he had an arch sprain, and he hasn't been playing that well. But today, he's 100%.
John, 3rd and 8. Stewart into the end zone for Connell, incomplete. Connell covered closely by the strong safety Trey Thomas. Connell had it go just off of his fingertips.
He made a diving catch like that in their last game against Oklahoma. The Longhorns were lucky. They were in disarray. When the Aggies came to the ball, they were not prepared defensively. Trey Thomas, though, knew his coverage assignment and stayed with Albert Connell. But the rest of that defensive front looked very disorganized, breaking the huddle.
John Kyle Bryant now in to attempt a field goal from 33 yards out. He's 17 of 22 on the year. He's a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award for supremacy in field goal kicking. How supreme is he? That's supreme.
Yeah, they missed the extra points, but they get those field goals, don't they?
Miss the one, get the 3. Right now, it is a 10-9 ball game. And at some point, that missed extra point could loom large for the Aggies and R.C. Slocum. 10:18 to play in the first half. Bryant now 18 of 23 on the year. Well, folks, coming up next, don't forget the second game of our college football doubleheader. 5th-ranked Colorado, led by Rick Neuheisel against McCagey, Wiley, Tom Osborne in Nebraska. Number 5 against number 4. That's next. The winner of that next game plays in the Big 12 championship game next week in St. Louis. That's a game that you'll see right here on ABC.
Well, I'm curious to see if Coy Detmer in that vaunted passing game of the Buffaloes can move the football against the black shirts in Nebraska. I mean, they are so tough defensively. Their bump and run coverage, and Lindstrom bringing the rush, and Jared Tomich. I mean, they better have some tricks up their sleeves and be able to get Coy Detmer some protection, because we've seen Nebraska twice this year, and we know how difficult it can be to move the football on them.
Yeah, that black shirt defense, John, if they get up on you early, it's like they're running downhill at you all afternoon long. We saw it happen against Texas Tech earlier this year. Bryant kicking off from his own 35. It's 10-9. Aggies trail by a point. Another high, short kickoff coming down at the 16-yard line. That's Sean Mitchell, who got jacked at the 24. The steam being taken out of the Longhorns offense of late. And a look at the winningest Division I-A teams in the 90s. A&M amongst just under 80% of their games.
And we have a few of them in our lineup. Florida State, Florida, Nebraska, Colorado.
All teams you'll see this weekend on ABC. Florida State, man, that's going to be a great game too. That, of course, comes on Saturday. 1st and 10 for the Longhorns. Nose of the ball at the 25-yard line. Ricky Williams running right up the middle. Gains about 8 yards. Ricky Williams, a guy who they affectionately call Little Earl here in Austin, as in Earl Campbell, former Heisman Trophy winner, now assistant to the AD here at Texas.
He also plays baseball in the Phillies organization, single-A baseball. I saw him at practice the other day. I said, Earl, I said, Ricky, what'd you hit this year? He said, what? I said, what'd you hit this year in single-A? He said, what? I found out it has a 1 handle on it. It's 1 something, but I know 1 is not good in baseball.
188, but you didn't hear it from us. 2nd down and 1. James Brown on the quick 3-step drop completes the pass at the 42-yard line to Matt Davis, the tall, lanky, rangy receiver at 6'5". James Brown finding his mark that time. Donovan Greer on the coverage. And it'll be 1st down for the Longhorns. Ball now at the 42-yard line. James Brown playing his best football of the year because he's healthy for the first time in a long time. He's 7 of 15 for 119 yards. 3 receivers on 1st and 10 for Texas. They give it to Williams. Williams ran right through the arms of number 9, Dat Wynn, and fell forward to the 49-yard line. Williams picks up a lot of yards, John, as you mentioned earlier, after contact.
Well, he's not going to change his running style because he gave up a fumble there. But he ran right behind his All-American guard, Dan Neal.
I mentioned that Williams is a baseball player in the Phillies organization. Technically, he is a walk-on. The Phillies paying for his education. Backside pressure on the blue, and Brown goes down. Man, did he get sacked by Donovan Greer.
Yeah, that's the cornerback blitz. It was effective against Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. Donovan Greer lines up and almost looks like a 2-deep coverage. You'll see him off the left side of your screen. You can see Matt Davis on the top there pointing to him. There's just no way James Brown is going to know this is coming. He can't see it from alignment before the snap. And it's just a perfect call by Phil Bennett. He doesn't know that James Brown is going to be rolling away and won't be able to see the cornerback. But definitely the end result is what he wanted, and that was a sack.
Timing the essence of that play call and success for A&M on that last play. Backside of the offset eye on 3rd and 14. Trying to set up the screen out of the backfield. Priest Holmes can't hang on. A frustrated Brown off the field now. Texas will have to punt on 4th down.
And a good read by Brad Crowley, the defensive tackle here for the Aggie defense, number 45. He peels off in coverage. When defensive down, see if we can locate number 45. See him on the left side of your screen now. He'll be coming in. Now, he's a defensive tackle, but he sees that play. See how he had his hands raised up over? And that made it a very difficult throw for James Brown. It's good recognition by the defensive lineman.
Schultes punting from his own 25. Gets off a better punt this time after that 11-yarder last time out of foul. The Aggies fortunate to get it back. Dante Hall fell on the loose ball after that 37-yard punt. The painted faces of the Fanatics on hand today here in Austin. We'll be right back. Folks, Monday night, Jerry Rice and the San Francisco 49ers take their 9-3 record to the Georgia Dome. The Niners are battling Carolina for the division title and need a win Monday when they meet the Atlanta Falcons. That's ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, right here on ABC. 1st and 10 for the Aggies, who trail by a point here in the 2nd quarter. They run it on 1st down out to the 28-yard line. That's number 22, Eric Bernard from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with 4.4 speed. Brandon Stewart, the starting quarterback, started every game this season for the Aggies.
And that tackle was made by Tyson King, probably the Rodney Dangerfield of college linebackers. He's led the team in tackles the last 2 years, and he's still got it. People, he has to take out his ID and show people that he actually plays football, and his name's Tyson King because he's not a very big guy.
The 2 tight end set, John, and they run it. That's Eric Bernard again on 2nd and 7. The sophomore making it out over the 30-yard line. Dusty Renfro making the tackle, number 46 for Texas. Eric Bernard now getting the pill a couple of times. His breakthrough game came in the Alamo Bowl last year. There's a look at Tyson King, who we were talking about moments ago. He's a Zach Thomas type.
He is. He's actually very happy for the success Zach Thomas has enjoyed in the NFL.
3rd and 5. The quick slant complete. And a 1st down for Texas A&M at the 38-yard line. Leroy Hodge, 6'3" freshman, tackled by Cody Donner. Hodge out of the ball game now as they move the chains. 6:24 remaining in the 1st half. And RC has shedded his school colors and his jacket. Warming up a little bit down on the field. Here's Dante Hall. He is performing well today. out near a first down at the 48-yard line is number 34, one of the candidates for the Big 12 Newcomer of the Year award, tackled by Renfro.
Yeah, he got some yardage there, but a lot of that, again, R.C. Slocum. Dean Blevins had mentioned R.C. Slocum told his guys get out of line. Look how the Texas defense isn't ready to play football. They have strong side, weak side players. By the time he cuts it back behind his block from Steve McKinney, 72, there's nobody in position there.
Well, John, that time they were in position, as was Dusty Renfro, number 46.
Yeah, it sure helps if you line up.
It's a good start. It'll be 3rd down and short now for Texas A&M. 3rd and 1. The nose of the ball at the 47-yard line. Backside of the eye, Hardiman and Broyles. They run the ISO, and Hardiman has the first down right near midfield.
Once again, a good lead block by number 33, Mark Broyles at fullback. See him going off the field right now. I mean, look at that guy.
How can you miss him?
Jeez whiz.
Sideline being taped.
Broyles does not carry all that often, only 11 carries this year, but he's in there for one thing, and that's to knock people over.
Yeah, it's hammer time when he's in there. Here's the counter. Bernard stopped up near the line of scrimmage by number 43, Jonathan Hickerson. Let's go downstairs to Dean.
Mark, Chris Carter, the outstanding free safety for Texas, went out with an ankle injury. They're retaping him, and his return is questionable at this point. Now, he's replaced by senior Cody Danaher, 18, in on a tackle a moment ago, but there's a noticeable drop-off from those two players. Carter potentially has an NFL career in front of him, and you'd think that maybe A&M would go at Danaher a little bit, 18.
Good idea.
Here's a chance on 2nd and 9. Play fake, and it's incomplete.
And there it was, Dean, off the play action, trying to take advantage of that substitute free safety in there.
Aaron Humphrey, John, was in on the pressure of Brandon Stewart. And it'll be 3rd down and long. Look at the club on Trey Thomas's right hand.
Yeah, that's a soft cast he's wearing to protect that right hand. I think if he ever makes an interception, it's definitely got to be with his left hand.
Or check the stickum on the cast. 3rd down and 9. 3-receiver set for A&M. Stewart audibling at the line. Downfield. Incomplete. You know, that's why number 30, wearing the burnt orange and white today, is a pro prospect. Right there, Bryant Westbrook had him covered.
Yeah, Westbrook is a player who thought seriously about coming out last year after his junior year. He's glad he did. He said he just didn't have his head right and felt that this year has added a lot to just his ability to round out his repertoire as a cornerback.
Leckler into punt. And they're not able to down it. A flag down, though. A flag on the play at the 14-yard line.
You know what I think it was is when you call fair catch, you can't run up and hit somebody. Mike Adams was back calling a fair catch. And then I think he ran up and made contact, which is illegal.
No foul on the play. Disregard the flag.
Then again, I don't think he did that.
All right, we're going to take a short break and throw it to John Saunders in Tallahassee, Florida.
Coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96, more on the big game, number 1 against number 2 tomorrow, right there on that field. So big I couldn't get my partner Todd Blackledge to leave the playing surface. We will also have an interview with Thad Busby and Warwick Dunn, plus a preview of Nebraska and Colorado. All coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96.
All right, John, a lot drier and warmer, of course, where he is. 1st and 10. It's the BMW backfield, Mitchell and Williams, but the pass is complete to the tight end, Pat Fitzgerald, number 81. The marketing major with a 3.5 GPA with an honor roll catch right there and a first down. Rich Cody pushing him out of bounds after 16-yard pickup.
You know, that's 36 consecutive catches, 12 straight games. He hasn't dropped the ball in 12 straight games. This is a guy, and that was a difficult catch. Running out to the outside, the ball is thrown low. He's a tall guy, 6'2", 228. going down making that catch. Those are real reliable hands, and he's started to become a bigger part of this passing offense.
They run it on 1st and 10. Mitchell still on his feet. Pushed out of bounds at the 43-yard line by Brandon Jennings, this free safety.
Let's watch Dan Neal in there, number 69. He's going to pull around and get a block for Mitchell. Oh, boy, and he gets a nice piece of work. Holman, number 43. You know, not only does he pull around on that play, but he makes quick recognition of the fact that Holdman is coming through. And typical Dan Neal fashion, he's going up, getting up, trying to get a piece of somebody else.
His block setting up an 8-yard gain. It's 2nd down and 2. Priest Holmes and Ricky Williams in the pro set. And Makovic likes those different formations. Brown passes complete to Fitzgerald, his tight end again, right near midfield. And another Longhorn 1st down. Rich Cody, the strong safety, making the tackle on the play. You know, you talk about Pat Fitzgerald, John. You said that he's a good blocker, good receiver. His father, Stan, was a naval officer and pushed Pat hard, so he knows about work ethic. Good talent, too. Mike Adams in the slot to the top of your screen. They run it to Sean Mitchell, who's sacked back at the 47-yard line. He'll lose about 2 yards on the play. 3:20 remaining now in the 1st half. Texas leads Texas A&M 10-9. And this is the 103rd meeting between these two teams.
There's Ed Jasper, made a big play there. You know, talking to the pro scouts, Mark, talk about this great Aggie defense, and they always turn out linebackers, and they have All-Americans in Brandon Mitchell and Keith Mitchell. Edward Jasper is the player they say are playing the best of the defense this year. He's really stepped up his play, plays real well. And defensive tackles are at a premium in the NFL. Not a whole lot of guys want to play inside anymore.
And not a glamorous position. 2nd and 13. Backside pressure. Brown gets it off, and it's incomplete. Intended for Adams. And it'll be 3rd and long now for James Brown and the Longhorn offense. Donovan Greer on the coverage in the secondary, along with Keith Mitchell.
Yeah, there's Keith Mitchell. You know, he plays on the edge. He said he drops about 2% of the time. The rest of the time, he's coming upfield. He has 14.5 sacks this year. The whole Texas defense only has 15 sacks.
Yeah, Williams was quoted in the paper, pardon me, Mitchell was quoted in the paper recently saying that Ricky Williams isn't as good as Byron Hanspar. Sure, those words weren't lost on Williams. 3rd and 13. On the slant, complete. Touchdown, McGarity. There's a flag down on the play at the 32. Hold on 1 minute. A 53-yard touchdown strike.
Holding defense.
Which will stand. Much to the delight of the head coach, John Makovic.
Yeah, this is where the formations you use isolate certain situations. Wayne McGarity gets a nice mismatch. A wide receiver on a free safety. Here he is right in the slot. Go ahead and roll it. He's one-on-one on Brandon Jennings. It is a difficult assignment for Jennings as a free safety. And there he just accelerates past Jennings, gets into the end zone for the touchdown. I didn't see the hold there by Jennings. It had to happen, I would think, on another defensive back, on another wide receiver.
And now John Phil Dawson in for the extra point. He's 41 of 43 on the year. And the extra point is good, capping a 6-play, 80-yard drive, using up 1:31 on the clock. Do you think they're happy here in Austin? John Makovic looking for a 2nd win career against the Aggies. Surely, the head coach has to be concerned about his safety, Carter, being helped off the field with an ankle injury. You can only hope that Chris Carter will return to the game later.
I don't think it looks very good. Not with 2 people helping him off like that. Certainly, it looks to me like they're going to take him inside and X-ray it. That's how bad it looks. They had the tape off. But Wayne McGarity steps in and makes a big play, playing in that slot position. A 3 wide receiver set, gets the mismatch on Brandon Jennings. So Texas, I think, had been shut down fairly efficiently through parts of midway through the first quarter into the second quarter mark, but they get back on the board now with a very impressive big play.
John, there might be something to this dreadlock thing. McGarity sports that too. So does Ricky Williams. What do you think about me?
I'll tell you what, I think you look good in dreadlock. You need hair to do it, then, huh?
There's a look at Ricky Williams. Also sporting the same hairstyle. The Longhorns leading 17-9. Chris Stockton set to kick off for Texas. Dante Hall and Sir Parker back deep for A&M. If Texas wins today, they win the South Division in the Big 12 Conference and play in the championship game next week against the winner of Nebraska and Colorado, a game you'll see coming up next here on ABC. Here's Hall at the 4. Finds a seam which closes up quickly, and he's tackled at the 27-yard line by Aaron Humphrey, number 49. 2:27 to play now in the first half. Texas leading by 8. John Mackovic has been the coach of the year in 3 different conferences.
The ACC, the Big Ten, and the Southwest Conference. They can make it 4 now with the Big 12. First year of the Big 12 play.
Hall and Broyles in the offset eye. Dante Hall's running over the right side and maybe got a yard. Casey Hampton making the tackle. Let's go downstairs to Dean.
If you're out there feeling sorry for yourself, listen to this story very quickly. Number 90 for Texas is Clarence Martin. He's a guy who was born to parents who were 15 and 12, drug dealers out in California. They've been in and out of prison. He had a terrible upbringing, foster home after foster home. See the play, and we'll come back and finish the story.
It really is a compelling one. 3 receivers. They toss it to Hall. And Hall has room, has a first down over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Let's go back to Dean Blevins. Dean?
Yeah, and, you know, especially with Thanksgiving here, this is apropos, I believe. And he somehow kept it together. His grandma, she died, was a great figure for him. Kept his act together. Somehow in school, he was an honor roll student in high school. Turned out to be a great high school football player. Highly recruited, signed with Texas. And after this play, we're going to show you the other story, which is a young man that's very important to Clarence. He's smiling at me.
All right. 1st and 10 from the 40. Stewart. It's ruled complete at the 45-yard line to Leroy Hodge. Yeah, we have all have a lot to be thankful for, Dean.
And I'm Daniel Rios. He's the half-brother of Clarence. Daniel, you have been in foster homes, born a crack baby, actually. And what does Clarence mean to you?
He's like a dad.
Are you a happy guy right now?
Yeah, real happy.
Well, it's good to see you. We're pulling for you, and God bless you.
Okay.
That's what it's all about, guys.
That sure is. There are larger lessons in life. You learn to be on the football field, and sometimes sports and football is a great vehicle to learn those lessons.
And Clarence wants to go into social work when he graduates. He's studying major sociology right now, and if that's his calling in life, good for him.
Timeout down on the field.
There's $1 million mile,
isn't it? 1:19 to play in the first half. Texas leads Texas A&M 17-9. The Aggies hoping to play the role of spoilers today. If they win, there will be a 3-way tie for first place in the Big 12 South Division. But Texas Tech would win the tiebreaker and represent the South in the Big 12 championship game next week in St. Louis. They'll meet the winner of that one, Colorado and Nebraska, coming up next. 2nd down and 6 for A&M. The inside handoff to number 20, Tiki Hardeman. Gets up near midfield where he's tackled by Tyson King, number 50.
You know, it's great, though. You talk about the differences in these two schools and everything else. I mean, look at the bands. I mean, here's the Texas band, burnt orange. They've got the nice cowboy hats on, white cowboy hats. Everything's neat and clean and everything else. Then you have the Corps of Cadets marching band. I mean, you talk about a difference in style and the way they approach things.
And right now, Stewart is on the run.
Oh, and he did not. Did he get on the right side of the marker?
Boy,
I mean, I don't know why he didn't take another step upfield, get a hit, and get himself a first down.
Didn't seem cognizant of where he had to be, John.
No, he really, I don't know if he was looking down on the ground. Plus, the ball is in his right hand, which is going to give him the spot. Here, I mean, here's Stewart in a situation where he has to scramble. He wants to go to the left side. Now he comes back this way. And let's see if he finds that marker or not.
Never did. Mike Adams back deep for this Leffler punt. Adams lets it go over his head. A&M unable to down it near the goal line. A 50-yard punt. It'll come back to the 20.
Here it is again, Mark. Brandon Stewart. See, now the marker, he sees the mark, but he actually veers the opposite way. I mean, he actually loses some ground there at the end. There's no reason not to lower your shoulder, dive for the first down. The clock stops with the chain moving for the first down. I frankly don't understand. Maybe he didn't know where he was or what the down and distance was clearly a mistaken judgment on his part.
Even a little hook slide would have gotten the job done.
Anything like that, sure. Spin move.
Of course, it's easy for us to say up here. That was Westbrook. He's carrying 210 pounds with him. Here's Ricky Williams carrying 220 pounds on his frame. Out to the 22-yard line, tackled by Dat Wynn. Folks, tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, 11 Pacific, Florida #1 against #2 Florida State. Then at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, the Skins game. Daly, Woods, Couples, and Watson for the best in the business play. And then the nightcap, Notre Dame, #10. Lou Holtz's last regular season game, taking on USC. Well, the first 30 minutes of the 103rd edition of Texas against Texas A&M is in the books. The Horns lead it 17-9. It's been a good first half. Right now, we're going to go to John Saunders in sunny, dry Tallahassee, Florida. Back at Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas, it is halftime, 17-9. Texas leads Texas A&M, and you don't think this game is important, folks? Believe it. A lot of important people on it, not talking about us, of course. We'll show you a little later. I'm Mark Jones along with John Spagnola. John, I think the tone of this game was set early when James Brown came out and completed his first few passes, and they marched down the field very methodically and easily.
He was 3 for 3 on that initial drive, threw the ball real well. I'm impressed. I mean, James Brown definitely plays well against Texas A&M. He played well last year with the hurt ankle. This year he's healthy and he's playing very well, and he's the difference in this football game right now.
There's a guy who were thinking about replacing just 4 weeks ago. Here's the play that set up their first touchdown, a 32-yard completion to Pat Fitzgerald.
And it was perfectly thrown. Then after the turnover, Ricky Williams put the ball on the ground. Tiki Hardeman takes it in from 2 yards out. But back comes James Brown throwing so well. Wayne McGarity on the post pattern, a 53-yard TD reception. That's the longest reception of his career here at Texas.
And Texas with a 17-9 lead. And I talked about the important people here today. That is former President George Bush and former First Lady Barbara Bush.
And their son, George Bush Jr., the governor of Texas.
Also on hand, Phil Graham.
You know, Mark, I don't see any Democrats here.
No.
Certainly not in this booth, anyway. I bet Ann Richards is around here somewhere, though.
The former governor of Texas. Throwing a little politics in the mix this afternoon.
Why not?
Politics defined as who gets what, where, when, and how.
And there's a lot of politics in this football game as well in terms of recruiting.
No doubt. Texas kicking off to the Aggies. Dante Hull lets it bounce into the end zone. And Texas A&M will start off on its own 20-yard line to begin the third quarter of play. They got off to a rocky start. And A&M in the very familiar position of trailing at halftime. It's been a trend of late. Look at the first half numbers. Just one turnover committed in the first half. That fumble by Ricky Williams, which led to the touchdown run by A&M.
Yeah, A&M has the advantage in rushing, 123-44. Texas with 194-17, and a real advantage in total yardage right now.
1st and 10, backs out of the eye. This is number 22, Eric Bernard. Folks, we'd like to take this time to apologize for some audio difficulties that we are having right now. Of course, our sound is bouncing off a satellite about a few 100,000 miles up in the air, so it's going to take us a while to fix that up.
Maybe Bevo can help us. Adjust the antenna on Bevo's head there. How's that?
As I mentioned moments ago, A&M in the familiar position of trailing in halftime, and they've come back to win on the last 3 opportunities. The pass complete to Albert Connell, the explosive wide receiver, making his first reception of the day from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, working on Bryant Westbrook, the corner.
And he's a guy they have to get in the offense. Look how clean his jersey is relative to everybody else. Steve Ensminger, the offensive coordinator, told us they want to get the football in his hand 8 to 10 times today. That's his first reception, so he has to step it up, and they have to get the football to him. John, sometimes you question A&M's commitment to the passing game. 25 yards right now. It's not much of a commitment.
3rd and 1. And Stewart keeps it himself for the first down. As you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, A&M struggling at 3-5 this season when R.C. Slocum scrapped the offensive game plan and went back to more of a running game. You wonder how it's going to affect the program in the long run, because a lot of schools and potential quarterbacks like that passing game. They run it. That's Eric Bernard again.
But this team also got, Rodney Thomas, Greg Hill, Leland McElroy are all running backs who have come through Texas A&M. And now they have the running back by committee right now, the 4x4, if you will, the 4 players with 500 yards or more. So I don't know. I think, especially in the Big 12, Byron Hanspard, Troy Davis, there's so many good running backs. I think you have to run the football in this conference to be successful.
2nd down and 9. Connell in motion to the top of your screen. They run the counter. And a flag as Bernard got jacked. Number 30 is on the loose.
Well, one of the things you want to look in the cornerback is, can he force the run? I think unequivocally right now, Bryant Westbrook has answered that question.
Westbrook has his gangster strut on. Wow.
There's number 30. He's on the backside of a slot formation. He reads the play immediately, gets inside the block, and boy, that is a form tackle if you've ever seen one.
John Makovic compares that guy to some of the best he's ever coached. Makovic has coached some all-pros like Henry Jones when he was at Illinois.
And he's a smart guy, too, He's they're going to call the holding play now, but it's smart to dodge that guard when he's running full speed at you, too.
Yep.
No lack of intelligence there.
First team all-conference is Bryant Westbrook. 1/4 of that very seasoned secondary for the Texas Longhorns. Right now, the Aggies looking at 2nd down and 23. Stewart's going to pass. They set up the screen, and it's incomplete, intended for Tiki Hardiman. Number 49, Aaron Humphrey, tipped that intended pass. And it'll be 3rd down and Lubbock to go. And speaking of Lubbock, somewhere, Spike Dykes, the head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, is hoping that R.C. Slocum's gang can get this game back in hand and come out with a win, because then Texas Tech would represent the South Division in the championship game next week, a game you'll see on ABC. 3rd down and 23 for the Aggies. Stewart back across the field to Hall. What a move! Dante Hall undressed a would-be tackler. I see uniform all over Memorial Stadium.
Dante Hall, they were asked, why would you go to a university that has 3 great running backs already? He says, I like the competition. When a guy doesn't shy away from competition, watch this move he puts on the outside right there. A little fake inside, outside. John Hickerson misses, but I think Tajay Allen right there made a very nice tackle playing off some blocks.
And they fake the punt. A&M is going to roll the dice. And the gamble comes up short. Kyle Bryant made a dash for the first down, but was denied by number 80, Dustin Armstrong.
Dustin Armstrong, a wide receiver playing on special teams. A real gamble here by R.C. Slocum on his side of the football field. Leckler gets the football, goes to the right side, and watch number 80 come up and fill for a wide receiver. That's a pretty good tackle. See number 80 there right in the middle. He's playing kind of a free safety position, and he comes up and makes a good hit, albeit on a punter who may not be the best runner in the world, but a good tackle nonetheless.
1st and 10, James Brown going to work. Ricky Williams. Williams tackled at the 31-yard line, picking up about 8 yards on 1st down. Dat Wynn making the tackle. James Brown with a completion on the pass. 12:05 to play in the 3rd quarter. Just underway in the period as Texas leads Texas A&M 17-9. Look at the numbers of James Brown. 2nd down and 2. Mike Adams split to the bottom of your screen in the slot. They run it. Ricky Williams tackled at the 30-yard line. He'll be about a yard shy of the 1st down. Dat Wynn and Philip Myers making the tackle, and Dean Blevins downstairs.
Mark, I visited with both coaches as they came out at the halftime locker room. John Makovic says his Texas club needs to run the football better. He said defensively they didn't adjust to some A&M sets. And R.C. Slocum said the busted coverage there late on the touchdown really hurt them, but he thinks with this slick field, the game can turn on one slip here or there.
That might force the outcome. 3rd and 1. They've got the 1st down. Priest Holmes brought down at the 28 by Rich Cody. Holmes and Williams, a couple of talented backs. There's a look at Williams. Look at his total yardage today. 42. And after contact, 31 of those yards. The motto of that tune, John, I guess is wrap them up good, huh?
Yeah, it sure is. But, you know, to the Aggies' credit, he hasn't had any breakouts today either. They played very good run defense against him.
Split backs on 1st and 10. Brown looking up top for McGarity, and it's incomplete at the 3-yard line. He was working on Donovan Greer. Brown out of Beaumont, Texas. Brown, a junior, he'll be back next season. Has a propensity for coming up big in big games.
You're going to see a blitz. Watch 32 get picked up right in the middle there. Great blitz pickup by Sean Mitchell. He's not afraid to block. And that's the one thing that impresses me about these Texas back marks, that they're both willing to do interchangeable things. Block, run, catch. They do it all together.
Versatile, as is Ricky Williams on this carry. Williams lowers that shoulder and is forced out of bounds to the 20-yard line by Brandon Jennings. That's why they call him Little Earl. He can take a hit and he can dish it out as well. 12 rushes today for 50 yards.
And he has a real awareness of what he needs to do. See how he breaks outside there. Great block inside once again by Dan Neal. See how he switches the ball there, realizing he wants to lower his right shoulder. And if he had the ball in his right hand, that might possibly cause the ball to fall out. He's already fumbled once today. They compare him to Earl Campbell, and with good reason.
Williams talked about his first meeting with Earl. He said that Earl came up to him and kind of gave him a forearm shiver. Said, "How you doing, kid? You think you're as good as me?" 3rd down and 1.
He loves the comparison, though, doesn't he?
Sure, it's flattering. Mitchell and Brown keeps it himself. Brown down to the 5-yard line.
That's something James Brown couldn't do last year with that bum ankle. He was a sitting duck back there as a quarterback. But I tell you what, I don't think that the Aggies can win a scoring battle right now. If Texas puts the ball in the end zone, I think I'm concerned if I'm an A&M fan right now. Looks to me like Brown takes a quick look downfield and just takes it around. Watch the cut inside here on the wet field and everything. And he shows his running ability and athleticism in the open field.
He really sold the fake too, John. 1st and goal. The handoff is to Sean Mitchell. Mitchell finding a crease down to maybe the 2.5-yard line. Mitchell, the former junior college All-American, playing his last regular season home game here in Austin, Texas at Memorial Stadium. He hails from Austin, performing in front of friends and family today.
LBJ High School, and he's getting ready to be a pro because he doesn't talk to the press at all.
You learn. 9:40 remaining in the third quarter. Second and goal for the Longhorns. Holmes and Williams in the pro set. Play fake. Brown into the end zone. Wide open. Touchdown. Derek Scott.
This is the mastery of John Makovic. Barbara Bush likes it.
I wonder who they're rooting for.
George is sitting down. George Bush, they have the library there at College Station in his honor. He may be upset with that, and that library may not be as big. Watch the play action sold the Aggie defense. There was a little fake trap inside with the tight end. Derek Scott's wide open for the touchdown.
And now Phil Dawson with the extra point attempt. Dawson makes it 24-9. The Longhorns can smell that Big 12 title game coming up. Clouds in the sky, but the rain has stopped here at Memorial Stadium in Austin. Texas leads Texas A&M 24-9. And with that score, you would think there are some long faces right now in West Texas in the city of Lubbock. Texas Tech Red Raiders were hoping that Texas A&M would come out on top, because then they would go to the Big 12 championship game next week, a game you'll see on ABC. Look at that last scoring drive as Chris Stockton gets set to kick off.
And we saw Texas Tech against Nebraska. They battled them pretty tough in that football game for a while.
At the 3-yard line, Dante Hall. Hall out to the 27-yard line and downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Well, guys, we mentioned off the top we were going to be talking turkey with Spike Dykes. And first of all, Coach, over in Lubbock, congratulations for the first Big 12 Coach of the Year, and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Well, thank you, Dean. It's been a good one.
I know you were pulling for A&M in this game because if they win, you go to St. Louis. Your perspective on the game so far, Spike?
Well, it looks like the old Longhorns have all the momentum. I know it's going to be hard to get it back from them, but I'll tell you, A&M has come from behind the last 3 weeks and won, and you can't count them out. There's too many big play guys in there, but Texas is playing good defense right now, and certainly their offense has really been great.
Eric Bernard running the ball that time out to the...
Sounds like Spike has call waiting working there, doesn't it?
Hey, Coach, you're getting to second-guess the coaching now. Now, you're R.C. Slocum. Do you run the fake punt?
Oh, you got to sort of go from the seat of your britches. If you think it'll work, you got to run it. Of course, you got to be ready to go take the consequences if it doesn't work. But that's just part of the game that makes it interesting, I guess. And some of those things work, some of them don't.
Right.
That pass incomplete. Coach Mark Jones, what do your bowl possibilities look like if the outcome stays the same right now if Texas wins?
Mark, if they end up like they are right now, we'll go to Hawaii and play in the Aloha Bowl. We'll play University of California.
That's a game you'll see on ABC. Coach, that's not a bad consolation prize, huh?
That's not a bad consolation prize. It certainly would like to go to St. Louis and play Nebraska or Colorado, but you know, we had a chance to control our own destiny. We just didn't get it done.
Coach, we'll get back to you after this play. Incomplete. 4th down coming up.
Coach, you were involved in a pretty good game this year. This is John Spagnola with Texas. Lost that football game 38-32. How do you try and shut down the Longhorns at this time if you're wearing R.C. Slocum's hat?
Well, I like what you just got to hope for a big play. The field position and the field conditions really could play a role in the rest of this ball game, and I think they got to get the ball down there and hope something will happen and get back with a little momentum, have something good happen, and change the tune of this thing a little bit.
Can they win a high-scoring game?
Well, I'll tell you, they're capable. They have been a little bit inconsistent right now on offense. The Aggies have, but Texas has been flawless. They have really done a nice job of their offense.
We're going to take a short break, Coach. Get back to you in a bit. 24-9 when we come back.
Back in Austin, Texas leading the Aggies 24-9. Dean Blevins back again with Spike Dykes in Lubbock. And, Coach, I'm glad your health is good, but did you eat right today? You had some heart problems here not long ago.
You're right, Dino. I did a pretty good job. I guess I behaved pretty good.
All right.
Well, you lost about 50 pounds, right, Coach? I wonder how much you put on yesterday.
Well, I got a little out of the back yesterday, John. There's not any question about that.
It's 1st and 10 for Texas at the 40. Rod Coleman in the backfield. James Brown to pass. Complete to Fitzgerald at midfield. Steps out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Coach, while we're looking at James Brown competing that class, your quarterback, Zebby Lethbridge, voted all-conference recently. What about his year?
Well, Zebby's had a great year. He's done a nice job. He and James are a lot alike, and I tell you, if you give James that much time to throw, he's the devil to stop. He's got a great vision, great arm, and you know the only chance you got against him is to really try to unsettle him some way.
All right, Coach, hang on. We'll get back to you after this play. 1st down and 10. What if all those calls coming in for Coach Dykes from boosters booking some tickets for the bowl game?
Coach, what's your take right now? Big game coming up, Colorado, Nebraska. You know these football teams. How do you see that football game?
I have to go with Nebraska, even though I don't know as much about Colorado certainly as I do Nebraska. We've played them, but it's hard to beat Nebraska and Lincoln. There's no question about that. And they're on a roll right now, and they really got a good football team. They're healthy, and it'll be hard for anybody to beat them, I think.
That game coming up next on ABC. Coach Dykes' team playing Nebraska tough this year, a game that we did. Yeah, unfortunately, Hansford put the ball on the ground. First play of the game there. Something you don't want to do against Nebraska. Terrell Farley picked it up and scored. It was, boy, I think it was 7 seconds into the game or something, wasn't it, Spike?
7 seconds, 7-0. It really was. That's not a very good way to start out with Nebraska.
But you did battle them back, played them pretty well. And you know, I think you can shut down that running game from Nebraska somewhat. It's just, what do you do offensively that's so tough?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. That's the big deal is their defense. And you can slow them down a little bit on offense if you have a little luck. See, I like the big thing with those people is don't give them the big play and play good field position, and you got a chance to slow their offense down. But, boy, their defense is a son of a gun, I'm telling you.
It sure is. Coach, we love you. We hear britches and son of a gun in one interview. The pass complete to McGarity, who's having a huge day, down to the 23-yard line. Well, Spike, McGarity made a big catch against you.
Yes, he did. That was probably the biggest play, the straw that broke the camel's back in our ball game, because it was a backbreaker, really.
Yeah, he's coming on big today. He had a 53-yarder for a touchdown. Edward Jasper gets a hit on the quarterback, but look how high McGarity gets in the air.
He's a great athlete. You know, he went there as a running back, and he has really developed into a great receiver.
It is 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. They run the counter to Williams, one of their favorite plays. And look at that stiff arm by Ricky Williams, and a late flag thrown at the 22-yard line. You know, Coach, you do a nice job analyzing the game. You want to join us in the booth? It would be like Monday Night Football. You come up here and join us.
Y'all kicked me out before the 4th quarter started. I tell you, y'all do a great job, and I appreciate the great job y'all done for college football. I'm telling you, it's really great to be associated with ABC, and y'all done so much for our game, and we appreciate it very, very much.
Well, thank you. We enjoy it. It's a thrill for us to do these games every week. And, Coach, we really appreciated the tip on the restaurant you gave us down in Lubbock earlier. Great barbecue. I even got my partner to pick up the check.
Oh, well, you doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Well, you know, in Lubbock, things aren't real expensive. That's why I let Mark pick it up in Los Angeles and New York.
Yeah,
Coach,
that's right.
Coach, thanks a lot for joining us, and congratulations again on your Coach of the Year, Conference Coach of the Year award. And if Texas A&M comes back, we'll be back on the line. Don't keep us on call waiting, okay? Thanks a lot.
You got it. We'll see you.
All right.
Bye.
1st down, 1 to go. James Brown into the end zone. Mike Adams, who else? He's got it like that. Mike Adams with his 4th reception today, 79 yards. His saw him make an outstanding catch early in the football game when he dove for the football. Here he's blocked one-on-one coverage. Shane Shunhua, I'm sorry, that's Donovan Greer, number 27, on the other receiver. Now we pick up Adams working across on Brandon Jennings. So it's man-to-man coverage. Again, wide receiver matchup on a free safety.
Well, that's why they call him the playmaker. The extra point is no good.
Yeah, I didn't see Dawson. I think he fell down.
Bill Dawson missing for just the third time this year on the extra point. One more look at the guy they call the playmaker. With all apologies to Michael Irvin. We'll be right back. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Plymouth. One clever idea after another. That's Plymouth. And Thrifty Car Rental. Renting cars with pride worldwide. Best of all, it's thrifty. I'm Mark Jones along with John Spagnola and Dean Blevins working the sidelines. Texas Longhorns lead their cross-state rivals from College Station 30-9 with 7:08 to play in the third quarter. Chris Stockton set to kick off after that touchdown catch by Mike Adams. Dante Hall and Sir Parker back deep for the kickoff. Hall. Well, not much choice there.
That's the old 2 feet inbounds. Good thing that happened in the end zone, not on the 1 yard line.
Coming up next on ABC, number 5 Colorado taking on number 4 Nebraska. Charles Farley, the star linebacker for the Huskers, unable to play in that game. He's suspended. And then Saturday, number 1 against number 2, Florida State. John, who do you like?
I'll tell you right now, I like Florida State in that game. Better defense. I think that offensive line is banged up. The center and right guard are both banged up. And the home field advantage, you know, you have Danny Werfel with more experience at quarterback, but I'm going to go with defense on that one.
Brandon Stewart on 1st and 10. Incomplete for Connell. That Texas defense today has been strong. They've played well. It's a defense that has come under heavy criticism during the last 4 weeks in particular after that Colorado loss. And their defensive coordinator, Gary Darnell, has been under heavy heat, heavy criticism. But today they played well. 30-9. They surrendered just 9 points. Dante Hall, who's had the bulk of carrying the ball today, brought down at the 21-yard line. Dean Blevins has more on Gary Darnell.
Well, you know, Mark, he has taken a lot of criticism this year, and the Longhorn defense has not played well many times during the season. But Gary's a guy who has a nice pedigree. I mean, he was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, defensive coordinator at Florida, was actually the interim at Florida as the head coach for a while. And he's up for a job at Arkansas State. There's a chance that he will become the head coach. And John Spagnola, there's already talk of who might succeed Gary Darnell down here in Lou Temple.
Yeah, that's right. Out of Illinois, he was Mikovic's defensive coordinator at Illinois.
3rd and 9, and the sack. There's that defense led by big number 9-6. The second-team all-conference player, Chris Aiken.
Stewart just had to throw the football too long. Credit that Texas defensive secondary. Very good against the pass. He held that ball long. You could just see that coming. I don't know how you can't hear a guy 290 pounds coming at you, but pretty good pass protection initially. You see Aikens coming around on a twist between the defensive tackle and the defensive end. He came outside and around.
Flags down on the play as A&M is set to punt.
Dead ball.
It hasn't been the Aggies' day. Boy, Aikens takes up a lot of room on the bench. That's a huge body, near 300 pounds. Just a chicken wing over 300. Lechler set to punt this time, 5 yards deep in his end zone. Adams on the punt return at the 45. Adams rocked at the 40 by Toya Jones. A 37-yard punt, 5 on the return. A look at what they've averaged, Texas A&M, offensively per game, 421. Very prolific. Today, though, a mere 170. Gary Darnell, you can take a bow. Your defense has done well.
Yeah, when Darnell took over as the defensive coordinator a couple of years ago, this team was ranked 82nd in the country in total defense. He got them up to 55th the last 2 years. This year they've dropped down to 69th. And he has taken a lot of heat, especially, Mark, with the experienced secondary. But, you know, what people often overlook is that he had such a young defensive line. A lot of true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, guys that stand up. He said these guys could never play in the Army because they stand up and would get shot.
James Brown on the flanker screen. McGarity. Oh, is that his head or the football or his helmet? Oh, it's an Aggie one. That win. That's a heck of a hit. Win and Horn.
That win is not going to give up. We talked about his story coming over from Vietnam. His parents didn't. You know, his parents were amazed that you can get a free college education playing football. And they got to see him for the first time ever in last year's game. This game right here last year. But oh, look at that. Look at that impact. And that thing was buckled up before he started that play. It wasn't like one of those quarterbacks walking around with the chin strap hanging down.
Two receivers out to the top of the screen. James Brown hands it off to Ricky Williams, who's stopped up right at the line of scrimmage by Philip Myers and Brad Crowley, number 45. Crowley in on the tackle along with Myers. And there's a look at win number 9. You know, his parents opened up an Oriental restaurant in Fulton recently, and they named it after that and his brother Hung. You know what the name of the restaurant is?
Lay it on me.
Who dat?
Hey, that worked.
3rd down and 1. And that is Ricky Williams. If you don't know, you better ask someone. Ricky Williams down to the 15-yard line, a Longhorn 1st down. Horn making the tackle, but not after Williams ran for 15 yards.
Boy, this is just total domination at this point in the football game. Ricky Williams now with 72 yards, 4.5-yard average. He's got a 6.4-yard average. And you know, whenever there's a play like this, there's Dan Neal blocking down inside, sealing off the inside. And that's a great block on Edward Jasper, number 95.
The offensive line done well today. Backside of the eye. Brown trying to make something out of nothing. And he's brought down at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, that offensive line has dominated all day. And one of the key reasons why is Dan Neal is projected as a center in the NFL. Got to be able to drive block. He does that. You have to be able to finish your blocks. Let's see if he finishes this on the linebacker. Yeah, he certainly does that. Then you have to be able to pull and read to be able to play in the NFL and deliver a punch. I think he answers every one of those questions in the affirmative.
Yeah, he's an Outland semifinalist. They announced the winner December the 12th at Disneyland. He says he's looking forward to it because that's where he and his wife,
Amy Lynn, spent their honeymoon.
Yeah. We're going to Disney World. 2nd down and 8, flags on the field.
And he has nothing to do with A&M. I mean, he's a guy who grew up in Aggie country.
5-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
And he said, I went there, I came here. He said, I didn't want to learn their yells, and I didn't want to learn all the other stuff. He said, the eyes of Texas is enough for me to try and remember. And he has just played from the get-go. From day one, he's played 47 consecutive starts. He's going to be a guy they're going to miss when he leaves this school.
Yeah, you don't see that happen too often these days. He is a monument to consistency. Under 3 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, 2nd and 13 for Texas. Here comes the blitz. Brown to the hot receiver, and it's incomplete, intended for 86, Matt Davis, but there's a flag down at the 26-yard line, as was James Brown.
Yeah, look, John going on there between Warwick Holdman and James Brown.
And this one is against Texas. It'll be holding.
The Aggies have to gamble on defense. Phil Bennett, the defensive coordinator. He's got to be as surprised as anybody, Phil Bennett, with the success that this Texas offense has had so far today. It's a very good defensive unit. Good people up front, good linebackers. The secondary is weak, and I think he wants to fly away. That's what that signal was right there. I want to get out of here.
That means load up the bus. 2nd down and 31 for the Longhorns.
Williams in motion. Brown for Adams on the post. You got it. Touchdown, Mike Adams.
And he has just broken the career touchdown reception mark. That's his 16th touchdown reception of his career. Broke Lavelle Pinckney's record of 15, Mark.
Mike Adams, the senior, wrapping up a tremendous career at Texas, playing his last regular season home game. James Brown put it right there for him. His 4th touchdown pass of the afternoon.
Mike Adams, again on the post pattern, right downfield, beats Donovan Greer, number 27, matched up man-to-man, and Adams has had himself quite a day today. And he got a little celebration right there with those antics. But when you're up, what, 27 points, soon to be 28, I guess you can do that kind of stuff, and the coach won't be too hard on you.
Yeah, win today for Texas. And they play in the Big 12 championship game next week in St. Louis. Phil Dawson in for the extra point. Out of the hold of Mark Schultes. The eyes of Texas smiling on the Longhorns this afternoon as they have a 36-9 lead. Phil Dawson, good on the extra point. Well, next Saturday, December the 7th, ABC Sports has a championship day of college football. Our day kicks off at 1 Eastern with the first ever Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. Then at 4:30, we'll go to Las Vegas as Wyoming takes on 7th-ranked BYU. That's where our crew will be. And for the nightcap, the top-ranked Florida Gators battle Alabama in the SEC championship game presented by Dr. Pepper. That's all next Saturday right here on ABC Sports.
You know, I wonder which BYU team is going to show up. You have Steve Sarkisian. He's ranked 4th in the country. You know, they throw the football so well and they've riddled the A&M defense with 500 yards passing. Then they play Utah last week to see who goes into that game from the Mountain Conference there in the WAC, and they ran for 366 yards. He only threw 12 times for 70 yards. So we got to figure out what kind of offense we're going to cover. Maybe Lavelle Edwards can help us out, give us a tip on that game.
BYU running the ball that much, kind of like Madonna deciding that she wants to join the monastery or something.
Yeah. I was wondering where you were going with that one.
They're not going to happen. Uncharacteristic.
On the other side, you know what Wyoming's going to do. Marcus Harris, 4,400 yards as a receiver. That's an all-time record in the NCAA. John Woolworth, the quarterback there, is #1 in total offense. So it should be a lot of fun. It might be an 8-hour game. You know that thing so much.
You never see a lack of offense when it comes to WAC games. Bevo's really working on that cut, huh?
I'm glad he helped us out with our satellite reception, too.
Yeah. Just tilt them to the side.
A little bit to the side, yeah.
Chris Stockton getting set to kick off after the celebration penalty. A kickoff from the 20. Dante Hall and Sir Parker standing on their own 15. Short kick. Fair catch called at the 38-yard line. That's Dan Campbell. That's where Texas A&M will start. Let's go down to Dean.
Guys, we mentioned off the top, get a rope. It applies to old Bevo. We heard you talking about him. Crazy story. Back in 1963. Whoa, Bevo. Back in 1963, the Texas Aggies, some of the followers, kidnapped every mascot of their opponents except the LSU Bengal Tiger. They kidnapped Bevo, another Bevo, took him to the Texas State Hog Farm. Well, the problem, back after this, you won't believe what the problem was.
And Dean, don't get too close, huh? I don't want to have to carry you out of here. Stewart out of the backfield to Bernard, who's wrapped up and brought down by Dwight Kirkpatrick. Dean, tell us more.
All right, well, the kidnappers confessed to the Texas Rangers, not the baseball players, but the official Texas Rangers, what they had done. Bevo, settle down, young man. You'll lose your train of thought when you're next to one of those things. The problem is that's an offense, cattle rustling, and you know what the penalty is? Death by hanging.
Yeah, true.
Well, the guys got out of it. It's a little bit more to the story, but that's the gist of it. So the rope was not needed then, and it's not needed now.
Well, Bevo, wasn't the bull stolen again, wasn't it? It was another practical joke on top of that.
Another Aggie stole it again.
Broyles with the catch out near the first down marker, right at the 47-yard line. Not sure you want to go around kidnapping, you know, bulls and steers like Bevo. I don't know.
Well, that's when a prank takes on new meaning,
yeah.
when your life hangs in the balance.
Just by hanging. You don't want to kidnap a Bengal tiger either. So that was a smart move.
I can't believe Dean didn't try and get closer to Bevo, though. I'm really surprised at him.
I thought he was a little braver than
option quarterback like that. They're used to sticking it in.
We were wrong about him. Stewart passing. Oh, boy. Not the way they drew it up, but Bernard caught it nonetheless. With 1:33 to play now in the third quarter. Dusty Renfro making the tackle on the play. Games coming up today in college football. Interesting how Bevo actually got his name, too. We'll get back to talking about the mascot. Certain brand they put on him. Forced the name. 3 receivers out on this play. And it's incomplete, intended for Connell. Number 30, Bryant Westbrook, broke the pass up intended for Connell.
I think Westbrook has really stepped up today. I mean, the 2 guys on this football team that you've seen right now who play real well is Mike Adams and Bryant Westbrook. Connell only has 1 catch for 8 yards.
Bryant Westbrook, man, he's oozing with confidence right now. 1:01 to play in the third quarter. 3rd down and 9. Aggies trail 37-9 on the flanker screen. Incomplete. Flag down on the play.
You're going to get a chance to run that again. The play was stopped.
Bryant Westbrook is the shaken up player on the field for Texas. He's in midfield, number 30.
Well, he was covering Connell on that screen play. Ran inside. You know, he's rubbing the inside of his leg. I wonder if he might have hurt a groin muscle.
Nice to see him get up.
And that slippery field there, you know, trying to cut inside.
That'll do it. Footing hasn't been all that great today. 3rd down and 14 for Texas A&M from the 44-yard line. Less than a minute to play now in the third quarter. Stewart under pressure.
He's got a player wide open in the middle.
And he finds one. On the ball. Now is it complete in a fumble?
Oh, Barry Johnson made the catch, Mark, and yes, it looks like he fumbled the ball.
Texas has possession.
Barry Johnson's a great story. He was playing intramural football, and the players on the intramural squad said, you know, you're a good player. You ought to try out for the team, and he did, and he made the team.
That's 3 drops today for Stewart.
I tell you, that's really a catch and a fumble, not a drop, but see Barry Johnson wide open in the middle of the field. He settles. It's only his 4th catch of the year, and you can tell he's just not used to handling the ball right now.
Cody Donaher knocking it loose and recovering it.
Yeah, great play by Donaher, filling in for Chris Carter. But boy, oh boy, I mean, everything's going wrong for the Aggies today.
I guess those red candles that the Longhorn fans lit at the Curse rally are working.
Yeah, they must be.
Part of the tradition here in this game. John Mitchell cutting back against the flow. Mitchell out to the 40 and a 1st down for Texas, tackled by Jennings.
You know, we've seen this Texas team play personally, Mark. You and I, we saw him play against Oklahoma. We saw him against Colorado. But this offensive line has just come light years from where they were at midseason in those losses.
And talking about Bishop, Adams, Fiebiger, Neal, and Humphrey from left to right. Now look at the big fellows up front. 305, 297, 282 pounds, 283, and 295.
Yeah, they're giving Brown the protection. They're starting to run the ball real well now, and they're going back for more again.
Counter tray. Mitchell brought down at the 41-yard line by Dat Wynn.
Mike Deal, the offensive line coach, came over from Illinois as well. We talked about Lou Tepper possibly coming here. Well, he's worked with Makovic in past and doing a great job with the big guys up front.
3 quarters in the books. 37-9 for Texas. We'll return with more action between Texas A&M and Texas after this message and a word from our ABC station. Back at a sold-out Memorial Stadium, Texas leads Texas A&M 37-9 in this, the 103rd renewal of this rivalry. A rivalry that dates back to 1894, the 3rd longest in college football history. 1st and 10 for James Brown and Texas at the 40. Brown to pass. Mike Adams.
Oh, he did it
Complete.
again.
Houdini is on the field wearing number 83. Tack on 37 more yards to his total.
What a great job by Mike Matt. I mean, this is just a show he's putting on for the fans, working again on Donovan Greer. Greer's never really been beaten badly all day. He's always in position to make the play, closes on the football. Watch Mike Adams stay with this football over the shoulder, off his shoulder pads, back into his hands. And he's making a great statement here in his last game at home, isn't he?
Sure is. 6 catches, 152 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Ricky Williams chopped down at the 23-yard line by number 30, Brandon Jennings. We talked about Bevo and how he got his name. John, tell us how he got it.
Well, this is long-distance branding. This is the closest I'll get to Bevo. But years ago, they lost to A&M, and the A&M players came over and dotted 13-0 here on the Bull, and they turned that into Bevo, right like that. So that's how that whole story goes.
Yeah, but what would have happened if the score was 14-0?
Okay, I'll get back to you after the break.
A little revisionist history. Ricky Williams slashing his way down to the 18-yard line. Ricky Williams, he of the 188 batting average in the Phillies minor league baseball system. Played summer minor league ball. 3 home runs, 20 RBI as well.
Well, with that average, you could play for the Phillies in the big leagues.
He has a mouse tattoo, a Mighty Mouse tattoo on his bicep, and also has a dagger tattoo as well. Right now, cutting like a knife through that Aggie defense. 3rd and 6. James Brown looking for Adams. Keeps it himself. The hardest working quarterback on Thanksgiving weekend. James Brown picks up 12 yards and a 1st down at the 6-yard line for the Longhorns.
You know, James Brown is playing the best football I've seen him play. And I thought he played well against Colorado in that loss against them this year. But here's a guy that now has total command of what he's doing. Look at a great pickup by Priest Holmes on the left side. Good move outside. When he's healthy, he can beat you so many different ways. And right there, he's almost making a little taunting gesture to Donovan Greer. This game is well out of hand at this point. But James Brown wants to add more to the scoreboard.
The toss to Ricky Williams, short side of the field. Little Earl down to the 2.5-yard line, tackled by Dat Nguyen. Dat Nguyen hasn't stopped playing. He's still bringing it. Only 213 pounds. Yeah. Seemingly undersized for the position, John.
Well, he actually bulked up to 240 his freshman. He didn't know what they wanted out of him. So he came in. He thought, I better play linebacker. I better gain weight. And then he wasn't moving as well. They said, what are you doing? He said, I thought I needed to gain weight. And then he lost it. And, you know, he really gets around that football field. They try to keep him unblocked, but he just makes a lot of plays for that defense. But today, he and everybody else have been no match for the Longhorns. They're just playing so well offensively.
Brown hands it off, and touchdown Longhorns. Priest Holmes, his 2nd of the day. (43-9). And you can almost start to color this day burnt orange and white.
And John Mackovic looking for his second win against Texas A&M.
You know, you talked about Mackovic too in this football. I mean, looking forward to next week and that game in St. Louis. Certainly this team has hit its stride. I mean, disappointed early losses to Notre Dame and Virginia. Look where they are right now. This team is peaking at the right moment.
They sure are. Dawson with the extra point to make it 44-9. Mackovic, the offensive innovator, has his team hitting on all cylinders. The winds of controversy swirling around USC's John Robinson, the head coach there. John, that game tomorrow on ABC. USC and Notre Dame. Speculation about his future at the school. And all this, I mean, it was only a year ago. Right. He had them in the Rose Bowl.
And he just got a 5-year extension. And we did their game last week, and they're winning by 7. The running back fumbles the ball. UCLA comes back, wins that football game in double overtime. But you know, it's funny. There's been 19 vacancies now in coaching this year in college. 3 have been filled. Probably more to come, but boy, it's amazing how things can turn in 1 year.
Yeah, you don't want to answer those messages from the AD if you're a head coach right now when you come home. Ball goes out of the end zone, so Parker lets it go there. It'll come out to the 20. Tradition, a big part of this series. Let's go down for more from Dean.
Well, guys, the bonfire tradition is really big at A&M. I mean, this thing is 55 feet high when they get the thing lighted, 195 feet in circumference, and they set the bonfire earlier this week, and it celebrates the school's burning desire to beat Texas. They have 5,000 students come out, spend 125,000 man-hours doing it, and for Texas, the Hex Rally is what they do. That's a tradition based on a fortune teller instructing the horns to light the red candle and let it fully burn to put a hex on the Aggies.
Well, they probably got some extra candles out, Dean, for this one, because right now they are putting the hurt on the Aggies. They lead 44-9.
You know, I was over at College Station and I saw the bonfire. It was over at Wings and Things, owned by Mark Dennard, a former Aggie center.
And John,
you can feel the heat over there, but you know, they used to do it here, and they don't do it anymore. The environmentalists knocked them down, said can't do it anymore. And that's part of the distinction between these two schools, the two traditions, the two cultures, if you will. That, you know, they do things differently in College Station than they do in Austin, that's for sure.
Positive aspects from both sides. The differences to be celebrated. And this is Dante Hall out to the 30-yard line near the first down. Stopped up initially by Casey Hampton, number 64. Hall, number 34, just one of 4 tailbacks that they use in conjunction at Texas A&M, in stark contrast to the one-man attack, or the 3-man attack, the BMW attack from Texas. It's a BMW against a 4x4, I guess you'd say. Brown, Mitchell, and Williams. And Parker, Hardeman, Bernard, and Hall, the respective rushing totals today.
Yeah, they've again, but look what James Brown has done through the air today. 300 yards.
Brandon Stewart through the air, completes it at the 37-yard line to Derek Spiller, making his first reception of the afternoon. Look at who's got the better precision vehicle today. A&M with more total yards, but as you pointed out, John, James Brown with his work through the air today, making a huge difference.
Yeah, you might want to tack another 300 on there. But Dante Hall is the guy who has been most impressive to me, over 100 yards today. I saw him in their last game against Oklahoma, and the true freshman he saw in that one play still is not going to give up in this game.
2nd and 4. Brandon Stewart to pass and sacked. Back at the 33-yard line for the second time today. Casey Hampton, number 64, making the stop. Hampton fills in for Chris Akins at the nose guard spot. Hampton 6'1", 317 pounds.
Actually, what's helped Hampton is that he plays in conjunction with Akins now. It's a move they made in mid-season. Big number 64 is a guy who plays real well in space. He fights off Hemuli, the right guard, who actually does a decent job protecting him, but when Stewart steps up, he slides laterally and makes the tackle.
John, after the loss, it's now 3rd and 7. Stewart downfield and incomplete. Intended for Leroy Hodge. Trey Thomas, the strong safety, in on the coverage. And it's 4th down. I guess when you're leading, you can afford to kick back a little bit and take a sip. Shane Leckler into punt. Mike Adams has already had a fantastic day. Back at the 18-yard line with the fair catch. A 48-yard punt, nothing on the return. 44-9 when we come back. Well, the Texas Longhorns will play one of those two teams in the Big 12 Conference Championship game next week on ABC.
Yeah, we saw them play against Colorado. They lost that game 28-24, and it was up there in Boulder, Mark. You know, recall that Mike Adams dropped the pass. Ricky Williams got stripped. I mean, they were in that football game. Colorado was in trouble fighting for their lives in that game. Boy, Detmer got knocked out, too.
And everyone up in Colorado remembers who the villain was.
Yeah, that's right.
Out to the 24-yard line is Rich Cody.
Ray Mosier with the big hit. You're right.
Yep. They'll be wearing the black hat if, in fact, they do face Colorado. Colorado and Nebraska coming up next on ABC.
Get one more look at Dan Neal coming across there with a big hit right at the end of the play. The score, the way he plays right now, they're down by 30-some points, not up by that many. That's how this guy plays game in and game out.
I have to admire the effort. This is the effort of Ricky Williams out to the 28-yard line near the first down. Richard Walden is the new quarterback in. Larry Walker made the tackle. There's a look at number 69, Dan Neal, the Outland Trophy semifinalist.
And what I like about him, Mark, is here's a guy who plays every snap to the fullest of his ability. There's some players here in Texas who were highly rated earlier this year and last year who, you know, may be coasting a little bit, whose stock has dropped. And I think Chris Carter's one name that comes to mind, a guy who played real well. There's a look at Richard Walton, his numbers for the year. He's actually alternating earlier this year with James Brown. You know, some players, they feel like they have good sophomore, juniors years, and they just try and get through the senior year without getting hurt.
Yeah. Tend to put it on Cruz. 9:23 to play in the fourth quarter. Priest Holmes near the first down at the 30-yard line, tackled by number 96, Brandon Mitchell. But getting back to number 10, the quarterback in the game now for Texas, Richard Walton. He and James Brown have a very good relationship, although they are competing in essence for the same job. And that's a credit to James Brown, because he said when he was fighting Shea Morenz, the prior quarterback here at Texas for a starting job, that Morenz never really warmed up to him and helped him out.
Neal just got a big ovation coming out of the game, recognized by these football fans here. But you're exactly right. James Brown is more than willing to share the information he can with Richard Walton.
And Walton completing a pass nicely that time. Good pace on the ball to Derek Scott, number 85, the tight end. A pickup of 15 yards. And the clock stops with 8:33 to play in the game. Larry Walker pushing him out of bounds.
Number 32, Larry Walker is the second. Number 5.
McGarity coming out of the ball game. Ricky Williams still in the ball game.
This is neat. You're getting separate. Each one of these guys in the offensive line. Ben Adams just came off to a handshake and a hand from the crowd. And just see how John Makovich tries to get his players out of the game.
And Ricky Williams is still there. Ricky Williams is going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Texas. 55 yards. You talk about great ways to make an exit. He can take a seat now.
Ricky Williams in their last game had 190 yards against Kansas. There's 145 today. It's a beaten down Aggie defense. He just breaks it right up the middle, and the big man can run. 6 feet, 220 pounds, out of San Diego, California. And he is just a joy. He's like a little puppy dog on the football field. Runs around, has fun, catches balls, plays with guys. I mean, to him, he's playing football because he has fun doing it. It's exciting to see him have so much success.
Dawson with the extra point. It's interesting that before one of the games this year, Bucky Godbold, the running backs coach, showed Williams some tape of Barry Sanders, and he pulled off a couple of spin moves in the next game. He's a quick study. John Makovich loves the fact that he's playing. We'll be right back. Going to go back in time. Earl Campbell, the Earl of Tyler. with his hard running style and the signature stiff arm. Former Heisman Trophy winner, now an assistant to the AD here at Texas. A lot of comparisons made between Campbell and Ricky Williams. They call Williams Little Earl. There he is, number 11, after that 55-yard touchdown run.
Same build, same stature, same running style.
You know, it's interesting. Williams said when he first met Campbell that Campbell gave him a stiff arm. He said, I still think I can kick your butt.
Gave him the old Heisman pose.
Yeah, might be right, too. Sir Parker with his first touch.
This guy has some speed.
He sure does. He was their leading rusher coming into the game, still on his feet. His mother called him sir to get respect, and he'll get respect with that run back. 100 yards. Believe it.
Sir Parker out of South Central Los Angeles.
Coming straight out of Compton on that one.
Here's a guy who was in a choice between Notre Dame and Texas A&M. He was in the car one day with his buddy and he flipped a coin. Came up heads for A&M. R.C. Slocum should get his face on that coin. But he is the fastest of the running backs, Mark, and you can certainly see it right here as he dashes down the sideline with a 100-yard return.
Sir is not a nickname, folks. That's what's on his birth certificate. His mother wanted to name him Sir so he would command respect. And as I said, he'll get respect with that 100-yard return on the kickoff for the touchdown. And they're going to go for 2 instead of 1. On the fade, flag down. Connell, the intended receiver. Westbrook with one of his few gaffes this afternoon. They went to the fade route, intended for Connell.
Pass interference, defense, half the distance, replay the extra point.
Right at the end, you see a little bumping there by Westbrook as he comes around to try to locate the football. And he had that left hand on the receiver, Albert Connell, but Connell has not been heard of, not been heard from very much today, and that's because of that man right there, Bryant Westbrook.
Yeah, they've really shut him down. Meanwhile, there's a look at Parker. You talked about the fact he flipped the coin and A&M won out. If I'm Notre Dame, I make sure I get a 2-headed coin with the golden dome on it. Incomplete. So the 2-point conversion fails, intended for Derek Spiller.
Well, I think the other side is I saw a bit of frustration on his part, and that's because he had started 7 games this year, but he's not the dominant running style that they want, but he showed his speed right there.
College football on ABC Sports is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. The U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be. Nike. And Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans. The Longhorns with a comfortable lead right now. And former President and former First Lady George Bush and Barbara Bush gone, but Senator Phil Graham still in attendance. Kick out of the end zone. Scratch what I just said moments ago. That's former President George Bush and former First Lady Barbara Bush.
What do you think of that last 5 possessions for Texas in the second half? Touchdown, 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 touchdown. Doesn't get much better than that, Mark.
No, it doesn't.
And they did it every which way. Didn't they? Big plays in the passing game. Big run by Ricky Williams. Mike Adams with 2 touchdowns in the second half.
8:07 to play in the fourth quarter. New quarterback in the game, Marty Cherry, number 14 for Texas. Ricky Brown on the run that time. The 6', 215-pound redshirt freshman. Coming in for Ricky Williams. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow at noon Eastern, 11 Central on ABC Sports, number 2 Florida State hosts number 1 Florida. Try to avenge last year's loss. And remember to start your day with ESPN College Game Day at 11 Eastern. They'll have all your pregame information for you. Pass complete.
I don't know about this. I don't know if you need to be throwing out routes, although John Mackovic just wants to run his offense with Marty Cherry. What I like he's doing, Fitzgerald just came out of the hand, Mark, when you were talking about that game coming up, that you know, each senior is taking his turn, taking some bows coming off this football field. Did it with Dan Neal. He's done it with Pat Fitzgerald now. So it's nice to see all of them getting an ovation from this appreciative fan base here in Austin.
And John, Texas running the ball well, as they do on this play.
Number 27, Chris Butcher.
Another new ball carrier, Chris Butcher, number 27. They have an incredibly successful record when running the ball for 200 or more yards. They've won 19 straight games.
This is a balanced attack, 200 yards today. And going into this game today, the school or this team had 2,000 yards rushing and 2,000 yards throwing. It's the third time in school history that they've been able to accomplish that. And that's just the signature of John Mackovic. I mean, probably people here want him to run the football more than he does, especially with all the weapons he has.
Sure.
But, you know, he just loves to keep teams off balance. You saw it today when he threw the football so effectively in the early drives.
And James Brown came out through it, and they really set the tone. Hall makes it bounce, lets it bounce down to the 21-yard line. A 52-yard punt, about 20 of it on a roll.
And there's Tyson King. You know, Tyson King is no stranger. He's led the team in tackles for 2 years. He's no stranger to these Aggie rivalries. He grew up in El Campo, which is in the heart of Aggie country. His grandfather was such a staunch Aggie supporter that at Christmas and Thanksgiving he would say the prayer at the table, and I'll paraphrase this. He'd say, "God, help us beat the heck out of TU." Can you imagine the patriarch of your family leading prayer at a solemn occasion like that and bringing that into the verse? I wonder how many other prayers were said like that in the state of Texas yesterday.
Probably not the only one.
That's right.
New quarterback in the game, Randy McNown, incomplete. A lot of legendary names, and tracking the legends.
Yeah, it is what's interesting. You know, that's why you have to name Little Earl. It's coming into today's game, 22 games. You can see the yards per carry, almost even in rushing yards. Yards per carry, the edge to Ricky Williams. Rushing TDs and 100-yard games are identical. It's incredible. Now, the thing they didn't do back in the mid-'70s is throw the football at all. Ricky Williams, 38 receptions. Earl didn't get one in the first 22 games.
Earl doing it on the ground. McNown, incomplete for Connell. Now look at Ricky Williams' numbers today. 145 yards rushing, averaging 6.6 per pop.
Yeah, the two things that jump out at you, that's his average. He averages 6.5 yards a carry. But look at the job that the Longhorn defense has done on the Aggies. Team that rushes the football well, 230 yards a game, and they shut down that rushing attack. And that man right there, Brandon Stewart, who's had himself a frustrating afternoon.
And a somewhat frustrating season as well. The loss today, if A&M doesn't come back, would mean that they would not be eligible for a bowl game. The pass incomplete for Albert Connell.
Yeah, you have to get 6 wins, but you also have to have a winning record. So they came in at 6-5, and they're going to wind up 6-6 on the season, and that is not going to qualify for a bowl.
Richard Copeland Slocum in his 8th year as head coach.
And you know, Spike Dykes, with whom we had spoken with earlier today, Mark, may be happy to hear that. You know, the Aggies felt that they had a chance at that Aloha Bowl, and I think you know, certainly don't qualify now, but they were kind of hearing rumblings of that as well. And I know that Spike already had his hula outfit on, the sunscreen and everything else, getting ready for that game.
That's a pretty sight, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
And Mike Adams is a pretty sight too when he decides to run the ball. 58-yard punt, 21 on the return. The Horns have hooked them today. We'll be right back. Back at Memorial Stadium, I'm Mark Jones along with Dean Blevins and John Spagnola. Texas in command, blowing out a game that at halftime stood 17-9 for the Longhorns. Running it on first down, that's Chris Butcher. Let's go downstairs to Dean.
Mark, you know, this 10 a.m. kickoff really speeded things up. I mean, it was an early day for everyone. I asked for a Texas itinerary. They had a wake-up call for the players at 6 o'clock. They're getting their ankles taped at 6:30 in the morning. John, I bet you never had your ankles taped at 6:30. Pre-game meal at 6:45. There you see the rest of it, and their kickoff at 10:30. And an ABC crew was in at 5 o'clock this morning, and I guess your limo guys came over, let's see, kickoff 10, about 9:45, right?
By the way, you did a real nice job driving that thing for us, too, Dean.
Is that what they call Volkswagens these days? Ricky Brown on the carry that time.
That is an early wake-up call, though. You know, these young kids in college, they like to sleep in, too. I wonder how much that affected them to change the routine, but they've been doing it here for years.
And I've heard stories, a lot of stories, John, and complaints from head coaches where the student athletes now have all these answering machines, and it's tough to get through to them if they do sleep in.
And beepers.
Yeah.
And then cellular phones and everything else.
Hey, you used to hit the snooze bar, and it's all over. Longhorns weren't snoozing today, though. Artie Cherry, third quarterback in the game now. Passing incomplete. Intended for Derek Scott. And Walton's pass is incomplete. Larry Walker defending on the play. Texas A&M will fall to 6-6 on the season, 4-4 in conference play.
You know, we followed Texas all year. They were 2-0. They had high expectations. They lose to Notre Dame at home. They go to Virginia and play by far their worst game of the year. Then they got completely blindsided by Oklahoma in that overtime loss there up in Dallas. You know, at that point, this program was reeling. They're able to pull things together and play good football. And Makovic, there he is next to Bucky Godbolt, his running back coach, you know, said we still have a lot to play for. The South Division of the Big 12, going to St. Louis, playing in that game. And, you know, an at-large Alliance Bowl bid still hangs in the balance.
And to the players' credit of Texas, they rallied around one another.
And I'm sorry, not an at-large alliance, but they would get the Alliance Bowl bid by winning the Big 12.
Walker making the tackle. Ricky Williams watching from the sidelines after putting in 145 yards rushing on 22 carries. Under 4 minutes to play now. They keep it on the ground. Just trying to burn that clock. That's Brown, Ricky Brown, the 6', 215-pound redshirt freshman. Brought down again by Larry Walker and Pat Williams, number 99. Three and a half minutes to play. Well, for those of you expecting to see Colorado against Nebraska, stick around. That's coming up next. A showdown, a huge one of big proportions in the Big 12's North Division. Texas will play the winner of that game. Both teams locked at 7-0 atop the North Division. Right here, it's 3rd down and 4. Chris Butcher puts it on the ground. No signal yet, and Texas, it's been that type of day for them. They got the good bounce.
And you just hear a collective laugh here, didn't you, from 83,000 people? They just all chuckled, and you just got the feeling, yep, this is our kind of day.
Ryan White
Butcher coming through there. Yeah, somebody gets a hand on, knocks it out right there. That's Pat Wynn, who keeps playing hard. Had a fumble recovery in the first quarter. Look how the thing just kept sliding and sliding and sliding out of 3 Aggie people until Derek Scott got the ball.
Look at James Brown. And, you know, let's talk about it, folks. There were people in the black community in Beaumont, Texas, and around Texas that doubted his decision to attend Texas because there was a feeling in the community that they would never play a black quarterback. Well, they were wrong.
And his father had a big part of that decision for him. Said, you take that challenge on and erase those stereotypes.
Much to the credit of James Brown.
I think John Makovich standing next to his pupil there. I've got to be real pleased with his play today. He ran this offense today as efficiently as he ever has. And I've seen him develop over 3 years. Saw the game against Baylor 3 years ago when he played, last year against A&M, and today, and he's played well in all those games.
2:10 to play in the ballgame. Second and 6. Run it down to the 25-yard line. That's Brown, brought down by Wynn. The Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Dante Hall from Texas A&M and Mike Adams. What a day for him from Texas. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. It's been a Chevrolet tradition for more than a quarter of a century. Hall and Adams. Great way for Mike Adams to go out in his last home regular season game. 1:18 to play. Richard Walton under pressure. Makes like James Brown, escaping down to the 20-yard line, picking up a yard. Walker making the tackle. It has been all Texas from the jump. They scored on their first possession, and they have never trailed this afternoon. Walton filling in for James Brown at quarterback. And this day in large part belongs to number 83, Mike Adams. A deep threat, short threat, threat from everywhere. Backside of the eye. Butcher cutting his way down to the 15. Dat Wynn again on the tackle.
You know, by and large, that starting unit is still in there. See, Brandon Mitchell is in that lineup. There's Edward Jasper. I mean, as much as Texas has rotated the players through, I'm surprised that the Aggies haven't at least substituted someone. There's Nat Wynn. You know, these guys have been on the field for an awfully long time, and it's got to be very, very depressing for them.
Been a great
16 tackles today for Nat Wynn.
Yeah. Could be the last play of the game. And they're just going to let it wind down. This edition of Texas against Texas A&M will go to the Longhorns 51-15. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving football, folks. Coming up next, it's Colorado, Nebraska. Stick around for that one. For Dean Blevins and John Spagnola, I'm Mark Jones. Stick around for that one. See you later.